Lord of Omens, give me sight beyond sight. Beyond sight. Beyond sight.
Go.
Welcome to Sight Beyond Sight podcast with Nikki, the all things comic aficionado, and Andrew, the gamer extraordinaire, and special guest commentator, Lo. We bring to you today a topic of conversation is Dune, the theatrical release just recently.
Yes. And
Dune.
we have this special guest today because he read the books. And
oh shit, he went into the paper.
He knows about it.
He read scripture.
I'm a huge fan of the 1984 film as well.
Yes, and I've watched the old school film, but you're gonna have three different perspectives because you have someone who hates movies and hates slow-paced movies and never seen the 80s movie. So
and never read any books.
I was gonna go for the sand. I was like, fuck, he got me on that one. Yeah, he got a point.
So anyway, since we usually have Marissa do this with horror movies, I'm gonna have you do it and just break down the new movie, like a summary of what happened in it.
So the new movie, compared to all the other direct that's come out recently, was fantastic.
Oh,
it was very good visually. It missed the mark on a few things, and I hate to be a hater, but because I go so deep into this, all the way back to the paper, back to the scrolls. Everyone here has seen it, so obviously we have to declare spoilers, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
There's always spoilers with us.
One of the biggest misses for me was the betrayal in the film, the way they portray it, of their house has a Dr. Ewing.
Yeah.
They don't go into that. So anyone new initiates to the film is not going to understand the level of the betrayal.
Okay.
And unfortunately, they picked a Asian actor, a Japanese actor, I think. Not the best move because it's literally like backstabbing. But the idea was there's this conditioning that they go through, which makes them as loyal as can be. And they have a diamond tattooed on their forehead, and that's supposed to be the mark of it. The House Harkonnen, or Harkonnen, as they said it in the film, their mentat Piter, which is the who I know you guys are going to talk about Chucky later, but full circle, the actor from the original film, he actually found a way through torture to break that conditioning, and that's really a part of his character, the mentat Piter, because he's evil on another level, which is why the Baron Harkonnen, conscripts him to his house. So the fact that he breaks that conditioning is such a huge feat, and he's very boastful of it and proud. It's part of his character, but they don't even address it. They don't give the character, the mentat, any play in the film.
Yeah,
and it's the guy who played Polka Dot Guy,
okay,
and also the actor who played the Russian in Ant-Man.
Yeah, the one that has a weird face all the time.
Yeah, but that is such a huge turning point. It's such a huge moment of betrayal, like where. When the Duke, and I think that I'm terrible with actor names, but whoever Poe was from Star Wars, the guy who played Duke,
Isaac, whatever,
he does such a great job, like looking into his eyes as he's laying there when he's talking to him and saying, "Hey, I had to do this because of my wife." So like you kind of get a little backstory into it, but you don't get the depth of the betrayal because of how hard it is to break that condition. Like that person, because you have to understand in the book, in the books, and yes, I'm a pedantic asshole and I'm like the guy who read the books, but the whole idea is for your house doctor, you need someone as loyal as possible because they're all trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
So if your kid's born with like a peanut allergy, like that doctor can go, "Hey, by the way, bring brownies to this thing." Like, so the idea of them keeping it so secret and being so loyal is paramount. It's like they're the most loyal in the whole world, where everyone else doesn't even, like where they can be suspicious of other people, they're not suspicious of them because of that fact.
Okay.
And they gloss right over it, and it happens, the pacing on it. And I understand everyone, like my one other friend that I went with to watch it who loved it, and I said I love it too, like compared to everything else, but just because I'm dead inside, I have to poke holes in the things I love. It's just the way of the world. It's just the way it is.
That's how we are now.
But yeah, that was like a main thing for me, was just that that's the tipping point of this huge moment where, and you have to remember, for thousands of years and hundreds of years, and that's how they talk in these films. It's all happening for forever.
All right.
There's a few other issues too with some other characters, but what was your guys' take on it?
I'll let him go first.
Oh damn, you want to just throw it at me? Like, you already know what my take is. My take is very simple. It was slow as hell. Like, it wasn't my type of movie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna say a lot. Like, I was willing to watch it personally because I was like, I know Angela was into it. Y'all were gonna watch it, so I was like, I'm gonna give it a try. I had no idea I was gonna sit there and watch a movie with no action, really. like I dead as like, this is one of the reasons why I say like I don't do Lord of the Rings and shit like that.
Okay.
Like, because it was like that. The pace and the shit is like, I know it has cool parts. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, when it gets to the next chapters,
like the visuals are cool.
Yeah, like don't ever like I made fun of this shit look like a Google Home landing.
Yeah,
but it was a cool look, but it still looked like a Google Home with fucking legs. Like, it just is what it is. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and try to like destroy like to be a dick. Like, because I'm not.
Angela's here.
Nah, because he made me kind of like he already. Nah, because the way he broke it down basically made me be like, yo, you know what? Maybe there was just shit I just didn't understand. And that's the whole aspect of it. Like, I didn't really catch the way he's explained it.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, maybe I got to rewatch it and try to look at it in a different visual. Because I didn't know what I was going in. Honestly, like, I could say I had no idea what anything about this movie. I just knew sand. I know there was sand.
There was sand and worm monsters from Beetlejuice.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I knew. So I didn't know what I was really judging off. So it just didn't really give me anything.
I think that exactly what he's saying is the pacing of it is what is gonna hurt a lot of people. The other thing is when you first sit down, it says Dune Part 1.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, wait a minute. This is a cliffhanger, like a part 1.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't sign on for
one. It's supposed to be 3 movies. The director
yeah.
already said it. He's going to get 3 movies out of it. Because the first one, from what I heard, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, was supposed to be like the whole series in one movie that was almost the same length as this. So it was more like this and this and this and this, and it's still not a lot of action and still slow paced. And fucking graphics are horrible in the 84 because you know when they get the
say what it was fantastic.
Listen, once like you got to watch the 84 version because once they put that shield on,
all right,
they have boxes around them, and this is kind of like
think Minecraft but with worse graphics.
Oh, that's I want to watch that even more now because that just sounds funny.
It looks fucking horrible.
The slow blade penetrates the shield.
But my opinion, the movie, I liked it because I already knew watching the original and the part 1. I was
being forced to watch the original by me.
All right.
And it was one of those things. Like I knew it was so paced. I don't have a problem. I like Lord of the Rings. I like people could look at Star Wars and be like, "That's fucking slow paced." And really,
I don't feel like Star Wars is slow paced.
Especially the originals.
All right, but it depends.
The originals are.
Damn it. Fuck.
Come on.
Interesting.
I know, but I'll give you this. I'll give you this. The originals had more action scenes. This one had one big one, like one. I'm not gonna even say big one, but one major action scene, and then it was just like nothing but talking. So I was gonna say, what I was gonna say to you is like when you're talking about these houses, or like the house of Atreus, and I was just like, realistically, since I don't know the folklore like that. It's like you're just saying words to me. It's like if anybody were to say anything like about like Harry Potter or some shit like Hogwarts. What the fuck is Hogwarts? Yeah. So it's just kind of like when they just make up words. So watching that movie, I think that was my only issue because realizing what happened with the 84, I feel like 84 they explained certain things a little bit more.
Yeah.
But in this one they had like. That's why I want to ask you: is it more accurate than 84?
I agree. I feel like from the first thing I brought up, talking about, I feel like they gloss over a lot of really big things. That's really hard to do because the pacing was slow, but it was rushed, which is crazy because
it's a 2-hour movie.
Slow paced, like action wise. But it's rushed because everything that's happening is taking it takes a lot to set up. One of the things too in it that you'll have to understand is the way you have to look at it is like the Bene Gesserit's one of my favorite characters throughout the series. They're like an order of women that they call witches.
Oh yeah, that's from the original movie. And see that
the Gom Jabbar and like the whole thing with the pain.
The guy who said to put the guy's hand in a box.
Basically, what they've been doing is they're like they're like soothsayers, or they're also like kind of like they kind of are consultants. But what they've been doing is breeding families together for like thousands of years, like hundreds of thousands of years, trying to basically quell wars and create like the ideal circumstances for like their messiah to come, which is where that's the whole thing. That's
the whole mental thing where they can see the future, and that's why in the original you get to see the guy's daughter in it, and unlike this one where he only sees like Zendaya a lot, where in the original you see a certain character play as his younger daughter, like his little baby, and telling him what to do, and the baby looks like a little witch. But that's interesting.
His sister.
Oh, it was a sister.
Yeah, the sister is. So right now, the lady
who does
Jessica,
the mom have a baby with? That's fucked up. The guy's dead.
It's his. No, she's already pregnant.
Oh,
with his baby. So basically, like and
they didn't even say that in the new one.
That's something. Well, he at the end of it, he says, "I know you're pregnant." She's like, "There's no way you can know because I just found out." The whole idea of Dune with everything is like the sort of kind of like those guys that they brought to them, like those fighters. They're like they've been bred for years to be the toughest fighters.
Okay.
The Bene Gesserits use the power of the voice, and that voice is not. And this is where we're going to get into Star Wars a little bit, because you talked about it before, and there's a lot of parallels where they stole, where they borrow.
You're looking for,
or do whatever.
It's all right. You can borrow from greatness.
But the idea is, greatness being Dune, that Star Wars borrowed off of.
Oh,
because Dune basically, Dune,
that's a fact.
Dune had a lot of things where,
he took from
coming
Dune
up soon, he's going to have twins that have magic powers, which is Star Wars right there. the desert planet with the two suns, which is Arrakis.
You know how many people are going to come out that don't know the source material, and they're going to be like, they copied off of Star Wars, and we're like,
no.
Dune first.
If I didn't know, if I seen that's going to be, I'm like, so I'm watching some bootleg Star Wars.
I'm pretty sure back in the day, they used to be like, oh, he's copying Flash Gordon, and it's just like, no, he did copy Flash Gordon.
No, and I agree, but that's
from it.
Creativity is the art of hiding your sources.
Yeah.
But like I like the way they explain it in Dune, where they've been talking for so long, they've perfected ways of kind of hypnotizing people, and it's not like magic. It's not like they wave their hand and people.
It was a frequency of voice.
It's a frequency of voice that makes you open to suggestion, but it's also what you say. So another thing I liked in the original film versus this one is the Harkonnens are so smart. They put a deaf soldier on the flight with them, because they know that he won't be susceptible to her voice.
Yeah.
So they have to take him out. And he uses the voice on the one guy and says, "Take off her gag." And then this is in the original 84 film. And then she looks at him because they're about to rape her. And
it sounds like an 80s, 70s
which they couldn't do, because it was the plane scene in the new one, minus the rape. Because
back then they would give you as much as they could.
Yeah, they'll throw all that shit out there.
But what she says to him is, so after she has the son Paul use the voice, and he says, "Take off her gag." They take the gag off, and she looks at the guy, and she's like, "There's no reason to fight over me." She like plants that suggestion. So the dude just like takes his knife and just jigs the pilot, and that's what caused them to go down. In this one, it was a little too heavy-handed. They focus very heavily on not what they're saying, but on the frequency. She's like, "Cut my bonds, give me the knife," and then she just stabs him. It's not like, it should play out a little bit more. There's a little bit more subtlety to it, where you can kind of like trick people.
They got a little bit of a safer aspect of doing it.
Yeah, they admit that. But what did you feel about this, since we're on that subject? Because the black lady that played like the in-betweener, and it was a guy, but I only say, I'm not saying because she's black or because she's a woman, but correct me if I'm wrong, in the story from what I heard, it's supposed to be a guy because he's supposed to have a kid or be related to one of the main characters or something like that. He's like an uncle, or
he's through the Steech, through that, through the Fremens, they have like a different type of thing. But honestly, this is a gender switch that doesn't affect anything. I mean, it really wasn't a big deal. It was played by an old white guy in the 84 film. And it was played, and it's just the thing. So it didn't really affect it. I mean, I don't think it wasn't a big deal that they switched it to a woman or anything else.
Okay. No, I was just asking because I think I was listening to something and they said like
she was dope in it.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that she was like the in between. Like I know both worlds. Like you can't fuck with me.
There was cool things about it. Don't get me wrong. Like as much as I was on the outside trying to figure out what the fuck was going on inside, it looked kind of cool.
But you know what?
I would have watched two off the aspect. Like the director said, like, oh, the second one's gonna have more action. It's like I could see it in the aspect. Like when we think about the Matrix, like the Matrix is slow, has one action scene. Then you get into the next movie, it's like over the top action. But it was action in it. If you give me smart action with talking, then I'll be down with it. You know what I mean?
Then I'll have to go back with you and say none of the Matrixes beat Matrix 1.
No, and I agree with you on that. I agree. I'm just saying in the aspect, like I'm saying, let's act like the way the Matrix did it wasn't good.
Yeah.
But if you do it better, it will have like I could be like, F the first movie, but the second one and the third one, I fucks with it. It's cool, and I would get into it.
I'll agree with you to a certain point because I felt like I wish even though it was 2 hours long, for me, it didn't seem that long. And I felt like they would left so much out to explain. It was just like this and this and this is happening. And then when you do watch the 80s version, it feels like it's a fucking 3-4 hour movie, but they explain a little bit more like the fat evil guy and what was it? The guy from the police. Was one of the main characters. Like Batista he was supposed to be Batista's brother, but in the 80s.
It sounds like a police music. Nigga, how the fuck am I supposed to remember his name?
What was his name? Sting. Okay. So you had Sting in the 80s version where he was like an eccentric, like super skinny, like
wow, I feel very old, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm bad with names in general.
So am I, but it just hurt for a minute. Hurt me right down. Hurt me down deep.
But he was the main, like one of them, like the main villain in the 80s movie. But listening to the director saying that he didn't put him in for a reason. And they were saying how, like, in the 80s movie, the Batista character, even in this one, didn't have a big part. But they were brothers, and the fat evil guy looked up to, like, Sting's character more.
Fade
So
and then the Beast Raban.
So you're telling me, like, the second and third movie, I'm about to get some ill-ass action scenes with a nigga named Fade and Batista and all that shit.
Well, Batista, the actor. But
no, Batista, my nigga. I'm going to call him Batista.
But
he was the embodiment. So it's kind of funny because I think this is a fact check true. We have to double check this, but I think the character that played the Beast Raban in the 1984 movie was Bluto from Popeye.
No, it wasn't him. No,
pretty sure it is.
No, it's not. It's not.
Pretty sure it is. You're gonna have to fact.
We definitely gotta fact check that because that is an also funny ass shit.
He is supposed to be like just physically imposing in all ways, and
but
Batista
he's a
did a
fat
great job
mess
with
in
it.
there.
But just being a fat man.
But he did a great job with it.
Every time I see it though, it does make me think like, and I just as being a gamer that I am, like the old Sega like video game, like he just had like a video game aspect, like being a fat guy coming out just talking. Like I kind of like that. I thought it was a cool like villain vibe to him, which is very rare. Like now that I don't really get a lot of bad guys aren't bad anymore. Like
he's like the embodiment of evil, where he is making moves all the way down the road. One of the best lines from this movie is like when he's like, "When is a gift not a gift?" is what he says, because they come in complaining because so Arrakis was a kind of a wasteland planet. No one wanted it. So
you're right. How the fuck? Son of a bitch.
It's a wasteland planet that nobody wants to go to. So the Fremen actually are like wanderers, and they kind of collect all types of people, and then they wind up showing up and going to Dune because no one wants to be on Dune. Okay. And then spice is discovered. And then Dune becomes the most powerful place. The spicing, the navigation guild uses the spice, and they kind of it became the most important place. So through cunning and through manipulation and through strategy, the Harkonnens take it and like they run it because they're like, they make deals all over the place.
That's on. I hear you.
And,
He's like, can anyone hear me right now?
They make deals all over the place to get it. And then what happens is because they're so greedy and because they're kind of doing it, they fall out of favor. And the Atreides start gaining favor because everyone likes him. That's like the very powerful scene from it when in the 84 film, when he says, he's like, damn the spice. I get the workers.
Yeah.
And he's the ecologist is like, I against better judgment, I like this Duke. He seems like he's part of it, as opposed to what they were used to, which was just brutality under the Harkonnen rule.
Yeah.
And they step in, and it just like you said, it was slow.
Yeah.
Film.
Yeah.
But yet the pacing of it is they barely show up, and then they're betrayed.
But
they don't even have time to.
And you know what? I'll give you that. But I'll give you that because, like, all right, let me give my story real quick. So the Saturday that we linked up that night, whatever, I was watching it before, like, you hit me up and I went to meet you. So I was able to pause it probably within an hour and a half point. And then I watched the rest when I went home. So, like, I was kind of like, I wanted to say something to you, but I knew he hasn't watched it and he was going to go watch it. But, like, it was one of those things where it was like the pace of it, like, I seen the action scene and I was like, all right. And I'm rolling a blunt and shit. And, like, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, but it was like the talking, it wasn't, maybe it was more or less me not catching the dialogue the way I should have. Because maybe that's what not, like, because I was in and out of it. Because at the same time, I was building a Gundam. So, like, like, I was, like, multitasking as I watched it. No, but I had to maybe give it more focus. Because, like, the way he explains it, like, it gives me, like, in the aspect of a video game, like, yo, the story sounds fun. It sounds like a fun story.
See, this is
so I want to actually, like, give it another try. Like, I would be willing to give it another try.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I kind of wanted to go to the theater and watch it with you, so you could explain.
The only way to see it, like I said, even though it was available, I wanted to go IMAX. I wanted to go theater. I wanted to just kind of see it on the grand scale, because it's visually it was awesome. There was a lot of weird, like you said, a lot of weird kind of shapes, ships and everything. And that's all from like the original thing. They were all to try to make it as foreign as possible. They try to do that. But yeah, no, I wanted to see it that way. Now I did before, when you told me you wanted me to come on and talk about this, I wanted to watch it again from home, but I didn't get a chance to. So I only had the theater
one
to
view.
watch it. But it's still, I think in the theater it was awesome just to see visuals, of them kind of doing just a lot of like it's like architecture in ships. So they did it kind of cool that way.
See, and just to go on what he was saying, I think that was an issue I had a problem, like not a problem with, but maybe I have to go back, because I don't think they had a problem with explaining. It was just like you said, like the draconian thing, and it's just kind of like, it's kind of hard to catch made up things. Like, who the fuck is this people? Who are these people? So it's kind of like, that's, to me, it's the same thing where it's just like, I have to go back, because I don't dislike Star Wars. I mean, sci-fi in general. It's just sometimes you got to catch certain shit. Like, soon as they explain it in a movie or a show, then you could catch it. Like, all right, these people are this. These people, like, if you went up to anybody and it'd be like, what's a Sith and a Jedi that don't know anything about Star Wars?
It's gonna sound weird. It's gonna sound like, what the fuck is going on?
Millennium Falcon? What the fuck are you talking about? Is a bird? But once you get into the habit of it, like, oh, okay, this is what a Jedi. This is what a thing. This is what it is.
This is, to your point, what they struggled with this with the first film. So if you guys ever get a chance to go back and watch, I can't say.
I recently kind of watched,
but there's a documentary. There's a documentary that came out about the very first attempt at Dune, and it was a Mexican director, and I forget his name.
Hector. And, we're in a set.
No, it was a Mexican director.
He is responsible for like all of the sci-fi movies that have come out from like the 70s on.
Oh shit!
There's some good ones. I can't even front. Like,
but they hired him because Stanley Kubrick was making like 2001, and then like he came up. Like, you have to watch the documentary. It's called like Villeneuve. No, Villeneuve is the new guy, right? The guy that did the direction. It's Jarskyevsky's Dune. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sure you're messing your name up.
That man.
But basically, he got a whole bunch of people together, and he was like, "Oh, I like this art from Geiger." So Geiger's art that's why in the 84 film, all of Geiger's art is there. But then the guys are in the room, and they're like, "Oh, hey, this Geiger art is really cool." And then they were talking. They were like, "Hey, we're gonna go make this film called Alien."
Yeah.
And they made Alien.
And they made a great
Predator.
fucking film.
All the people in that room are responsible because he put them all together, but he was also a little bit of a lunatic. He was like, oh, we're going to get Pink Floyd to do the soundtrack, and we're going to get Helmet, who is like this English rock band, to do the bad guy music, and Pink Floyd's going to do the good guy music. And they were like, your budget alone on music is already over.
Yeah.
We're going to give you.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I have this beautiful vision. And he started bringing them all these things. And Salvador Dali, the painter, he wanted him in the movie. And he said, I'll do it if you pay me like $1 million a minute.
Damn.
$1 million a minute. And he was like, all right, cool, we're gonna get him in. And like they were like,
2
no,
seconds.
stop spending money. But because of that, like then you have the 1984 film, which had Toto as the music, which they did a great job with the music. It's like
Listen, Toto is a great band. People we trying to joke on the name, but yo, that band is fire.
I think they did it. I don't know if there was anyone else that
There's
collaborated
some
on
people
it.
who did Africa, right?
Listen, that's my fucking squad, nigga.
Yo, if that played in the original Dune, I would be fucking cracking up. Like, this is the best movie ever made.
Toto's gonna be played at every special event of my life.
I missed the reins down and
Yeah. When the fucking
Arrakis. You have to say Arrakis,
Arrakis?
which is this.
and then the sandworm comes out. Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah, I
dun,
think it-
dun.
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh, and the
That's
guy's
right.
eyes turn blue.
you can hold the fucking line too, my nigga. It's all together.
But in that one, getting back to the point you were saying, they did so much voiceover and so much they just hit you with information. So you haven't seen the 84.
No, I'm not.
So basically, this character that was supposed to be in the film, but they cut it because it was going to be like 6 hours long. So they cut it. She literally just does exactly what Nikki was talking about.
Yeah.
She stands there and they just have a still frame of her and she just goes, okay, this is what's going on. And she did like a scroll, you know, like
Almost like a Star Wars.
thing, but she just lays it out. She's just like, this is this house, this is this house, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. And then you get the glimpses of everything in between it. But they jam so much into that original one. So now you're going to see in the next film, you're going to see the Fremen rise up and do guerrilla warfare against the Harkonnens who are trying to take back
See, and
over.
that sounds fun. But at the same time, that scroll part, you know what made it awesome? The Snapple guy from the original commercials. What a red.
Just reading it written mad fast. Micro Machine Man.
Like, the fuck is going on? But nah, it definitely, I will say, like, it sounds more interesting, like, because like I'm a novice. Like, I was at a point where like I was looking on the outside, like I was like, why the fuck are they talking about the two? Like, who the fuck liked this movie? Like, that's how I was feeling. And then like he explained, I'm like, damn, this nigga made it make more sense. Yeah, like, I was like, shit, like this should make sense now.
That's the thing. I like talking to people that are knowledgeable because I'm like you, where I'll watch something and I'll be like, why the fuck should I like this? It's the green screen, people. Get rich game in here now.
But no, this is going to be something where I hope that people kind of they're going to go back and watch the 84 one and laugh their ass off. But it's like, it's going to give you enough information
to want to watch the
it,
second
to
one.
kind of get into it.
I'm being
Did you
Batista
watch
at
the
Comic
TV show
Con.
or something that was
There
called
was
like
a-
Sons of Dune? Or
There was a mini series on Sci-Fi that Dorian, who comes on the podcast occasionally, he really, really liked that, and I have to rewatch it again. I liked it, but it was I thought it was good, but he thinks it's much more accurate, much more like to it. So when he comes on, we'll pick his brain about that.
Yeah, we'll do
But-
that. That'll be one of our random talks that we throw out there.
But that's another really good thing because that spells it out. Because once again, it's so hard to do this story as a movie, or even 3 movies. It has to be
But
like
see,
a mini series.
Here's the question.
I'm surprised.
Here's
they
a
didn't
big
do that.
question for anybody who really wants to get into the Dune,
Dune. Why you say it like that?
because it's just it sounds
When
so,
the Dune music kicks in, right?
it's just,
Dune, 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 Dune.
that's what it feels like. Nah, I just want one question. I just want to know how big the book is No Homo. Like, all right, pause. Like,
No,
I said because
we'll
I
tell
said the
you what
wrong
he
words.
said. We'll tell
Yeah.
you what he said.
I just want to like
It's multiple books though.
no, I know, but like, are we talking about like a normal novel book? Are we talking about like an omnibus,
He
a
wants to know
Bible,
if there's a book that's
maybe some pictures? No,
pictures, audio books that he could listen to where he's building his Gundams. Dune.
You need Son to help me out here, you know what I mean? Good shit.
So for some of you older folks that might remember what Cliff Notes is, and
Why?
for some of you younger folks who might know what Sparks Notes is, and for you really young who just look it up on the internet,
Google.
There's a
if it was
Wikipedia
going to
work.
be a Cliff Notes for this, it would be 300 pages long to shorten it down. It's that extensive. There's like series of books. There's Herbert wrote a bunch of them, then I think his son and someone else continued them and wrote like the chapter houses and everything else. So there's a lot. It's like the Silmarillion for Lord of the Rings, where it's like someone's like, oh, is this another book? It's like, no, this is just a book that explains the other books, and everyone's like, oh, this is like homework.
Yeah.
The shit didn't even start with like the
What the fuck is this Shire?
like a new paragraph. It was like just a continuation of a sentence.
Yeah.
Like it just paused and it was like continuation. Like, no introduction, just read, nigga, read.
Did you like Lord of the Rings?
I like it. Yeah, it's slow
fuck it.
too.
I'm making my drink on this Lord of the Rings shit.
Yeah, no, I had to refresh myself. So, but no, I like Lord of the Rings. I played D&D my whole life, like from back when I was a kid and stuff.
Play
So
with you
that's
guys.
why it was like.
Can we do a
thing.
podcast with that?
Why not? We can do anything we want.
Once I move to Florida and I actually
is your
get
oyster.
more thing.
bullshit. You don't move to Florida and I can't pay D&D.
You could be on it. I don't even know how to play this shit.
Oh, you played before with us. You played
I-
White Wolf with us.
I played for a little bit. You know what's weird about it? And I know you people probably can't hear Andrew, but it was just like the weird thing.
Andrew wants to be a warlock, everybody.
Yeah. But the thing is like, this is what I don't understand about that. And again, this is a random tangent. We're going to talk into other shit in a second.
Go for it.
But with D&D or anything like that, the tangent is like, okay, what I didn't get is kind of like, you're giving me an option like, all right, what do you do next? You roll the dice and then the dice means something. The numbers on the dice mean something. So you can't do this. You only have this option. So it's kind of like, it makes it cool because it makes you think strategy.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's almost like it's too weird where I feel as though, is there somebody else heard?
It definitely Marissa sounded like
Oh, okay.
for a second, but maybe I could be wrong.
No.
Yeah.
But to me, it was just kind of like, I could think of anything. And I guess the dice determines my future.
So there's two types of role playing. There's ROLE playing and
And then there was-
ROLL playing.
Yeah, that's
What's
the one
that?
that's
The
in the
lope
bedroom.
shit. But the nigga,
No.
I know that's the one that they be
Today's
outside and
podcast, rated R.
like they be outside hitting each other with the fucking knives
No.
and
There's
shit. Like,
role playing where like you can talk your way through situations. If you talk something, you throw out something out there and you say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. And you can
Alright.
kind of talk and massage it and go like that. The
So
dice
you
come
roll
into
call.
play. The dice come into play because you have your character sheet that has stats on it. No stats equate you to different things. So if you're a real acrobatic guy and a freaking something's falling that's heavy, you're not going to be the one. You're not that guy. You know what I'm saying?
To
You're not
say,
that guy to
yeah.
go run and do that. But if you say, I'm going to do something and I'm going to spring and leverage and I'm going to use my legs and push up on top where it's more leverage, like then you can kind of
Okay.
do, so you can talk your way through a
So-
lot of things.
So let's do a podcast because I know Christian's always the leader of it. Let's do a serious podcast because I have that program that StreamYard that we could all get on camera, and we like whether it's a phone
Brady
or a
Bunch in this
webcam,
bitch.
Yeah, we'll do that all the
Yeah, we
Brady
just
Bunch. Nigga, what?
play it.
We did it for a while.
I'm just out here. I'm just
But I do want to see him try to play it. This would be like
play what? Oh, the Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
Because it's all fantasy shit though. It's all imagination
It's
fantasy.
anything-
Well, it's-
listen,
They have
anything
books
you
on
want.
it. They have
Okay.
books like of the rules.
Because I don't
Yeah.
think
characters.
you like. I don't think you
One of the
respect my
things-
imagination, my nigga.
One of the things I think you guys really
You
get a kick out of
disrespect-
is like late 90s, we played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
See,
And we went, so my character was named Fuzzy Tony, and I was a bear who got into some ooze that was dumped in New Jersey. And who found me was the mafiosos dumping bodies.
that's fucking awesome.
So my bear would wear like the fedora and the trench coat and would go around and was basically like a
mafia bear.
mafioso bear. And Fuzzy
Damn,
Tony
see, it
was that.
sounds fun.
Nah,
And-
that's fun. Yeah, that is the
And
imagination.
we had a bunch of different people
do
playing
that.
different things, and we went up against a group of farm animals that were going against like factory farming.
Yeah,
And my friend Nalanj,
I don't know.
the guy, so this guy we were playing with, he's like peeking around the corner, and their freaking sniper was a turkey. So right before he would shoot, you hear go 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 go. So it was like a tell. So we would be like trying to like find for cover and fire back and everything. And he got clipped hard, and he went down. And we were just like, you hear all the gobbling, and he's just like, still to this day, I think if he hears a gobble, he twitches.
That's fucking hilarious.
No, it's the most fun.
we gotta
It's the
do
most
that.
fun ever, man.
We
You
gotta
guys
do that
definitely
shit.
try it.
Yeah, we got to do that. We
I
gotta
have
make that
to.
shit
I
up.
had to because I never really knew. I knew of it, but I didn't know what it was like
Listen,
until Stranger Things. Like I was
Listen,
like, what the fuck is this?
If you think of something, so like
Like-
you said, you're building a Gundam.
Yeah.
There's tons of that
All
in
right.
it. There's anything and everything you can think of. You can find source material online.
Mm.
Like there was this game called Rifts, and in it there are these things called Glimmer Boys, and they are in these suits.
Mm.
And the funny thing with the suits is you have like a rail gun. So you are in a power suit mech, but you have to spend so much time like working out outside of the suit,
Yeah.
or else because you become atrophied.
Ah.
yeah.
So you can only spend so much time in the suit. And there was another.
See, not to stop
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
Mm.
but I'm just to explain to you. So there's a guy that said, like, if you watch Stranger Things, there's always a guy that reads the book, knows the rules, and he's explaining this while you're doing it. So
Yeah.
when you're like, you have your before everything starts, you have your character, the stats,
Yeah.
and all that. Then it's the storyline. So
Alright.
I don't know. You could correct me. if
That's
I'm
all I
wrong,
know
so
from
don't play
Stranger
it.
Things. Yeah.
So it's kind of like he could make up a story, and then it goes from there. Because
It's like you continue on the story, but with your
yeah,
imagination.
so he
There
could,
are-
he could be like, all right, this is
All right,
happening to
listen, I only have two references. I have Stranger Things and South Park. I used Stranger Things because South Park would have sounded mad childish.
Solid,
Yeah.
solid references. Actually, really solid references. They cite a lot of really important things.
Yeah.
So one of the other things too, like from Family Guy,
All right.
do you remember the thing with role playing where he's like, "I'm a +7."
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I know what you're
+7
talking about.
sword of disintegration.
Yeah,
for my
yeah, yeah.
paladin. She's like, Paladins.
Yeah.
Can't
I
use
watch
that."
a
He's
lot
like,
of cartoons. Yes.
And then what's he saying? All right, fine.
fine.
I'm a black guy. So there is so all those things, like all those writers in those rooms,
Yeah.
all are D&D players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We played one time. Tien was DMing or storytelling or whatever the term was, and me and this kid Steven, we've been role playing our whole lives together from when we were little kids. And Nikki was sat in on that session, and we had this thing, and we went back and forth for like 15 minutes, and everything just kind of, it seemed like everything was lining up. It seemed like everything. And Nikki came up to me afterwards, and he's like, "How did you remember all that?" I'm like, "Remember what?" He's like, "That. How did you like?" It's like parts in a play or something. I'm like, "No, that was all. We just made that up." He's like, "Yeah, but how did it lined up at the end?"
Yeah.
We were sitting outside of the 7-Eleven with the coffee and the cigarettes. Like it just like lined up, and I was like, "Oh, that's just what happens."
Yeah.
And he's like he was so
It's-
shocked that we didn't rehearse it. We didn't.
Nah, that's cool as
It
fuck
just
though.
flows.
Yeah,
It
that's
is.
mad cool. Yeah.
And I'm just, and also like, again, before I was not trying to cut you off, is because I feel like he needs a little bit more explanation, because my whole life had been a nerd. So I knew about these things. It was just
No,
like,
I know about.
he
I just never
comes-
fucked with it like that. Like
we
that
were
was in
nerds
my
before it was
circle.
cool.
yeah.
Nah,
and
that's,
that's
see,
a fact.
that's a
No,
different.
wait.
But that's a
the
different
fact.
aspect. But you get it
Yes.
wrong. I won't be like, I didn't run around. I was a nerd because I played sports and I did other shit. That's not my fault. That's not saying I
No,
didn't like
but
it. You know what I
admit
mean?
it, you would admit it, because
No, I do admit it, but I'm saying like I'm not in detail
Because-
as you
yes,
because I did
because
other
it
shit.
wasn't cool to be.
No,
Because
I
you
didn't.
even
I wouldn't
say
say it wasn't because it wasn't,
it wasn't cool to be. Yes, because you
Because you
said
got to
to me-
remember,
On
I'm
a very special Beyond Sight.
Nah, but
Yeah.
you gotta because you gotta remember the different aspect. Like you're talking to a person who's a wrestling fan,
okay.
so I
but
know what I
that's-
get what you're coming from with the
Yes,
aspects of
but
not being cool at the
but
point in time.
this is the thing.
I get
and
what
I
you're
always
saying,
reference
yeah.
this. When Sin City came out, him and his cousin.
No,
were
and
making
you're
fun of
100%
me.
right. You're 100%
And
right.
again, and you said that you always
Yeah.
like Spider-Man.
Mhm.
So 100%.
Yeah.
So he's like, he was a closeted nerd.
Yeah,
and
no,
it
I'll admit
took-
it like that. Yeah.
It took for nerds
I'm
to
glad
be
you're
cool.
out and proud.
I'll admit that. Like, yes, I was the person that I knew I loved this shit, but I wasn't out here like I'm a nerdy person. I like Spider-Man. I kept it like that. But it was the same show with wrestling. Like,
so right now on this podcast, right now live, we are going to term the pronoun nerd. So it's going to be nerd, nerds, and nerd self. So I'm a nerd. So therefore, you can't refer. No, dude, it was where we grew up was tough, man.
Nah, it was. Yeah.
But the thing is too, and this is what I'm saying. This is why I like myself.
CI.
Yeah.
So
it's the same thing.
I pretty much grew up in CI. Yeah, I pretty much grew up in CI.
If you were talking about the stuff, or if you were wearing the wrong thing, you got jumped. That's like when Hot Topic became a thing. Because before Hot Topic, there was Salvation Army, and you had to go and make your own clothes. And I am responsible for the hipsters. It happens, my generation at least. But basically, if you were talking about the stuff, you were ostracized. Like you were.
You were literally very understandable.
No, and I get it, and I know that. Because in high school and Central ISIP, if anyone knows Long Island, it's a mixed crowd, but
it's not. But it's a true fact. Like it goes into everything. Like because even
there's a minority.
Yeah. Like, because it goes into even like music. Like for me, like I could go to him and be like, "Yo, I know this song." Da da da. Like now, where we at as friends and as adults, is like, "Oh, whatever." Da da. But when we were in high school, I would have not been able to be like, "Yo, I listen to this song." It's, but those are two white people singing it or something. And we're like, "Nigga, why do you listen to this?" You know what I mean? Like that's what it was.
He had fist fights because he was in Central Western High School with a mohawk. And a trench coat. And that was before like the trench coat mafia fucking and it was just
once again, I'm sorry for that too. I'm somewhat responsible for the trench coat thing.
He was responsible for it, damn it.
But no, it was. We had to fight scratch, and that's why Marissa laughs at me, because when Hot Topic became a thing, when the kids were walking out of there, I went up to them. I was like, I bled so you could wear that.
And it's a fist, and it's a fight.
But it's true. The level where Hot Topic was before the anime shit now, like the original Hot Topic, like the original where they had like the big ass, like all the shit that I would never fuck with.
Yeah, but that was dumb.
And I give him. That's what I'm saying. Listen, I'll give flowers to that era because that was a different time. Like it's not what it is now.
His stories were. He would have to fist fights and bleed.
Trust me, I know.
Because someone says like, I don't like your mohawk, or I don't like your pants, or I don't like this. So when Hot Topic, he's saying when Hot Topic came out, it became all the rage. So when we were going to school, we noticed that they were groups.
Because that's how we were. That's what we did.
Stabby movies like Scream. You had groups. You had like the hip hop group. You had the
Spanish group. I was somewhat of a jock. I brought home a championship, and I hung out with the cool kids, and I was the king of the freaks.
But you could do that. See that? But see, the thing is like, and I try to explain this now as being an older person. Like I didn't understand that back then. So I'm not gonna sit here and lie like I knew that. No, and that's what I'm saying. Like, not.
So all once day. Again, like,
and if anybody were to see Tien, you'll know. And he's gonna be on the podcast eventually. But
like, if I know I could have been a nerd, and
if you see him in person, you'll be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna."
It'd have been a rat.
Because you know he means business.
You know what's the most fucked up shit though? I remember is like the most you were allowed to be a cool ass motherfucker, like cool nigga, whatever you want to say. Dragon Ball Z was the farthest you could go for a nigga.
Yeah.
After that, it was like you're a weirdo.
But yes.
And I like Sailor Moon, motherfucker. Yeah. I woke up and watched Sailor Moon before I taught the bus.
But see, a closeted.
Sailor
Moon is not bad. You bugging. You bugging to say Sailor Moon is bad.
I mean, I did like Tuxedo Mask, so it's all.
I like how he knows the guys who, like, I ain't saying that last old season, but
you had to know that because that was what the girls were into. So if you had to, if you were picking the girls up, you had to know what they were into.
But the thing is this, the whole point, what I tell him all the time, and this is why we click more now because it's cool to be a nerd now, is that back in the day, even when you're weird, you like comic books, you like this, you're a scrub, you're whatever. When fucking Sin City came out, and that was after fucking X-Men and Spider-Man and Blade and all this shit, I was a comic book guy.
Still don't make fun of you.
My dumb friends were just like, "Oh, you're gonna watch a movie and they have 'Meanwhile' in the title." And it was just like,
but I will say, in the
those
aspect,
are fucking dope movies.
but you gotta no.
Now what, nigga? We're on a podcast and talking about nerdy shit.
Because there's one thing. No,
So
no.
once again,
There's
like I
one
said
thing-
about the movie Dune,
no,
where
no, because he's right.
no.
But no, I want to point out something about this though, because you're not wrong, but in the concept of making fun of it, that movie still had a weirder aspect of direction. Like when you went to go watch X-Men or Spider-Man, it was just a movie. We really watched a comic book movie, and don't get me wrong, Sin City's one of my favorite comic book movies now.
Not two, but one.
Yeah, but like when the original thought process of it was like, son of a bitch.
Unfortunately,
I didn't even realize it was that low. Holy shit!
take
Use some tequila.
Take the end of it.
Like, I bought it.
Yeah, give it in. That's all I'm saying. I don't want.
Oh,
Okay. So as we put our advertisement and everything that we do on the camera,
yeah.
basically all I was saying, like when it came out to that shit, it was wait, what was I talking about again?
No, nerdy shit, Sin City.
Oh, Sin City.
It was a comic book
Sin
movie.
City, like it was OD black and white comic book. It didn't have an appeal to me at first.
So just in case you're wondering, let me jump back on the mic real quick. Nikki brought up our friend Tien before, who is live action Marv.
Yes,
he's
a black live action Marv.
He is the embodiment of
I mean,
Marv.
his fucking name
And
is a Dragon
I dare
Ball Z
you
character.
to deny it, Tien. I want you to watch
Like,
this and deny it.
From the literally from the first time y'all introduced me to him, every time I see him, I was like, "Where's his third eye?" Because that's all I ever see.
From Dragon Ball Z. But no, that's the thing. Not to sound, I'm not gonna say it like that, but everyone here, because I live with Angelo and shit like that. So every friend they bring around, I'm just like, yo, I'm fucking cool with them. Like they're mad chill, they're mad cool. But you know what's funny? Maybe it was because I was younger back in the day, and it was like a separate thing. Like y'all hanging out with them, like with your friends and my friends. But I was
because
like,
we did hang
damn,
out with them. And we're going, God damn.
we could have made fun of Chris together. We could have made fun of these people together. Like we could have been in there like ga. But it was a very separate thing.
We were,
But
but
at
that's
the
because
same
of
time-
growth in different aspects. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, I can't disrespect. Like, we're gonna have Bob on the show eventually because he wants to talk.
Like I hung out
Godzilla.
with so many
He can
random
talk
friends
so
of
many
his.
things.
Like I've met Angelo's friends randomly, and like I gotta say they're all cool and they're all like, and I
And they're
just
all
like,
nerds.
yeah,
This is
like, they're
why-
all
like, this is
fucking
why I
cool.
love them. This is why I
Like,
love it because it's kind of like it feeds into me where it's just like, yo, my whole fucking life, my brother, didn't happen until he went to Comic-Con that he said he was going to dress up. He would say, I would never dress up until he went to Comic-Con and see. He went the year that I got the praise. And then he's seen last year, I just put the video out, people, and his son got all the praise.
yeah, his
And
song was
we're
getting
talking-
mad
like, we
shit.
were in the
Dame
thing.
was out
We
there.
gotta get Thomas
My
into the
boy,
wrestling.
my boy was out here.
But
Like, he was
and
out
I'll
here getting
talk to
his
you
shit.
guys about that too with the Macho Man because you might have to be two different Macho
Listen,
Men.
we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna
But-
figure this out.
But the whole point is, it's kind of
Because
like
I'm not
the
I'm not
atmosphere.
crazy.
The whole thing about being a nerd, and you're like probably a generation or whatever before me, like one generation before me. When I became a nerd, yes, it was still shunned.
Yes, I know who Sting is.
But I'm just saying, when like you had to fist fight and bleed for that shit. Me, I didn't have to fist fight, but at the same time,
It was, but it's
I
different
was never on that level.
I don't feel like it was. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't feel like where he was dealing with was different from
No,
like.
it was different for
yeah.
me.
It
But at the
was-
same time, even with my friends, I was dealing with this shunning. Even with my brother, it was like comic books. What the fuck? And even when it came to other people that we know, when they're talking about wrestling, they're talking about comic books, and it's like, yo, it's not about weirdness. I was
And
just,
see, but that's what
let me
I'll give.
explain to a woman.
Yeah,
Like, yo, you watch fucking novellas or whatever. So it's the same shit with us. Like with wrestling,
Anytime-
it's a male fucking
Anytime that
What?
someone's like persecuted, anytime that it's like
Yeah.
suppressed, where you can't do something, then as soon as that like lifts up, then everybody wants to do it. Like
no, and that's a fact,
where-
and that's.
Yes.
But
That's
that's
what-
what
yeah.
happened. Like, and the general aspect of our conversation, I'm gonna use the wrestling aspect, and I could almost use video games right now. But for wrestling, like you look at it, they had a boomer era. Like it was 97, 96 to let's say 2001, 2002. That from there, every motherfucker did not feel ashamed to be a wrestling fan. And then from there, it just slowly started desecrating down to what it is now. And it's like, oh, you see the real Lord. It's like the ones that's why I say when I say, like, I could talk to wrestling fans, but it's like, it depends on what you say, because I know how your timeline is as a wrestling fan. Like, I met Paul, told the I was like, oh, you know your shit? Cool. I could talk to you about wrestling. Yeah. Like, I could talk to you about now, but
you can only talk to me about the greatest wrestler of all time.
It's a Macho Man.
Ravishing Rick.
What the fuck?
Rude. Now, a little something. A lady.
No, listen.
We're trying to talk. You're trying to talk my son into dressing up as Ravishing Rick Rude.
Yes.
For Comic-Con, because he will get so many numbers.
Yes.
Rick Rude is an awesome gimmick in general. I love Rick Rude.
Did he just say gimmick?
Oh.
I think you mispronounced legacy.
Oh.
All right, if you want me to,
I'm a macho man. I'm a macho man.
All right, if you want me to go,
my number one is Macho Man. I did that more for his benefit.
All right, if you want me to go into that aspect, all right, yes. Rick Rude in general, as who he is,
was one of the best heel
greatest,
gimmicks of all
one
time.
of the greatest heels ever. Like, if you from the outfit, from the spray painting to hearing shit backstage about him and smoking weed and just being a I don't give a fuck nigga.
Smoke
like,
weed every day.
Yeah, like Rick Rude was that laid back guy. Like, and yeah, all you sweat hogs and fucking fat pig bitches out here that wanted that nigga. Yeah, we all knew what it was. Like, Rick Rude was that nigga.
Sweat hogs is a new term. I love it.
Yeah.
Some of us in the older audience will understand that from Welcome Back, Cotter.
Yes. Like, I love those shits, but like to say they get. You think Thomas would be a good Rick Rude? Because he got blonde hair. Like, I was trying to think, like, because of his hair.
No,
you know what?
We're going wigs.
All right,
it's all wigs.
Yes.
All right.
And the funny thing is, because the whole concept was this, right? Thomas, Thomas, he's not super shy, but he just wasn't.
He's a mixture, yeah.
But we were just saying, like, yo, and I told him, my favorite characters is always the gimmick, the dark character.
Yeah, and that's what I would have figured he would have went.
No, and I tried to put him into it.
We wanted him to go as Undertaker and him to be
Paul Bearer,
and that would have worked great. That would have worked great. Because by next year, he's gonna be almost in type. Fucking tall as hell.
I know. But the thing is, he just wasn't into it. So we're trying to. That's why I told you about the thing. Like, I didn't tell him yet, but maybe we could get him to wear a Deadpool mask but dress as Kane because it's the same color.
A mixture, yeah.
That's very popular
because he could wear the Deadpool outfit and let's say put the Cane mask so it has the wrestling mix. Yeah.
But we're all like, my brother was there, so we're all talking. The Ravishing Rick Rude was this kind of like, Thomas is funny sometimes.
It's just because it's over the top. Like, if you're gonna go, you got to go over the top.
So I was
we
just
have
like,
to.
And how many people are gonna know what that is?
And I told him straight up, if you're Ravishing Rick Rude, I'll be Gold Dust. And I'm not a Gold Dust like super fan, but if you're gonna do something like that,
I think I fit into the Gold Dust suit a little better than Nicky.
Stop disrespecting Dustin Rose like that. That nigga's a legend. Honestly, it's crazy, but he's better than his brother. So it is what it is.
Oh yeah.
That's a whole nother wrestling argument, but
yeah. That's why I wish Paul was here. So
he's coming on.
He's coming on.
He's coming on. He's going to talk, and you guys can go back. Yo, he is an encyclopedia of everything. He's forgotten more stuff than I.
And I like that. Like, I don't sit here and be like I'm an expert. I can know what I know, and I go back and I learn shit.
This is my lineage from wrestling because I stopped watching at a young age. Junkyard Dog. Macho Man had the best promos, had the best everything.
You stopped
right
before it got really bad in WWE.
I dropped out. I came back, and Scotty Too Hottie was a thing.
And that's when it got fun again. Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh, this is at least they're not taking themselves.
No, at that point in
we
time,
met Rikishi.
Yeah.
And then I never watched it again.
It's a really funny like up and down, especially when you look at the WWE's up and down.
I remember. I'm old enough to remember WWE Superstars, the cartoon.
Yeah, that.
Captain Lou Albano was my Mario from Mario Brothers.
So was Sergeant Slaughter and G.I. Joe?
Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah, no, I remember watching that G.I. Joe. Yes,
the G.I. Joe movie, Sergeant Slaughter, where he's the boot camp instructor. But then I never followed it. You guys were
but that was the thing. I'm to get into it.
I'll consider myself for wrestling a fair weather fan. Like I'm on and off. Like Attitude Era, I felt like in my generation, everyone was into
Which is the
that
one
shit.
with the
That's
DX,
attitude
Stone
error, more or
Cold,
less. Yeah.
WCW with an NWO.
No, but that's
all
why I
that.
said like it had its points. Like in the early '90s, like it was fair weather, and then like I kind of remember like just randomly in the '90s, like
Yeah.
watching it, and then like I had a family member that somebody that he watched it, so we would watch and bullshit, and like we would all chill as kids and watch, and then if we were at his house, he would order the pay-per-views, so we were like it became like a thing, like, and it was just wrestling was popular and it was fun, and I just loved it. Like I would never say, like I told him multiple times, I was like, I stopped at a point in time, like I was working, girls, obviously, shit. Then as I got older and I got more boring, I went back to TV. And I was just like, fuck it. But the thing was like, it's one of those where it was like the storyline of something actually caught me. And I was like, this is entertaining, which is when I got him to start watching it with me. Cause I was like, yo, this shit is actually fun, da da da. And we watched it, we did the WrestleMania party.
I can tell you the
know what I
exact
mean? Like,
moment. I can tell you the exact moment I stopped watching wrestling.
yeah.
Someone gave me a cassette and I watched UFC probably
See, but that
number
doesn't-
3, and it was everything wrestling.
All right.
Wanted to be the early ones.
All
the
right.
bare-
No, I
the
get you.
bare
No, you're right.
knuckle,
No, I
the
got
bare
you.
knuckle, the sumo versus Keith Hackney, the whole 9 was.
And I
freaking-
feel you because I didn't get that. But I will say, I like because I don't get me wrong, I'm a USC fan. Everybody know I'm a USC fan.
No.
Basically, I remember the Rampage Chuck Liddell first fight, like on USC. Dating this girl. We going to her friend's house. Telling her, literally looking at her like, yo, the black man's gonna punch this nigga in the face. He's gonna fall. All right. Went there. The person that's hosting the parties, his girlfriend, wife, whatever, is mad hype for Chuck Liddell. Yeah, crazy drunk white girl.
Sorry.
All good. Fucking fight starts, knocks the nigga out, boom. I never seen a person shut up so hard.
Yep.
And I was just like, oh, I like this shit. I'm gonna become more of a fan of it. Like I had the game for Dreamcast, but I didn't really think it was real until I
I'm
really
telling you,
watched
the
it.
early ones were style versus style, which was the
Yeah, and
which
those
was
yeah, but those wasn't.
which is
It
what
was hard for me to watch ECW. Like to find ECW as a kid, it was hard for me because I didn't have all the cable options.
If you
So
wanna
UFC was hard
this
to
is an
find.
interesting-
Like,
this is an interesting topic that we can switch over since we're not talking about Dune anymore.
yeah,
There were a few instances. So when I would watch UFC with Paul as a ex-wrestler would point out all the fucking
the
bullshit.
shit that will, yeah.
And the Showtime kick, completely a work.
It has been because he can't pull it off ever again, and
Well,
it's
no,
very
because,
weird
no,
that
there's a moment where you watch. He actually lines up. He puts
Yeah.
his foot up on the mat, and then he takes 2 steps to the right, and it's like choreographed. It's like choreographed.
no, but that's what I'm saying. Like I agree with you, like
And
because
then,
he
when I-
never could get it off again.
From what I
Yeah.
learned from like watching that with him, watching the Kimbo Slice Alexander fight.
Oh, how that fucking fight went! Oh my
That was
god!
when they started really going wrestling.
Yeah,
They started going real wrestling to try to build names over talent, and that was the whole Kimbo Slice thing. And
because
then,
Kimbo should have won that fight easy.
and I hate to say this, we're gonna bring it up because talking about wrestling, but the freaking work of when CM Punk went into we fought and got schooled, and then that last one when Joe Rogan said, "I think someone paid that man not to."
Yeah.
No, but it
not
was
to
true.
win.
No, but it was true. Like we knew this shit. Like the thing is, like in the wrestling community, I'm gonna speak for them on this side. Like, where they'll say like they really try to not acknowledge it. Like I'm the asshole because I'm a OD sports fan. That I throw those jabs at those crazy the cult fans
Yeah,
because they're like, oh no, like yo, that nigga can't win a real fight. Like
I'll tell you what.
he's not a
No, you good.
like
No,
the thing with CM Punk, like,
it's legal, baby.
and don't get me wrong with CM Punk, like he went to do something honestly as a person, like I said, like a Nick. I'm gonna use Nick as an example. Never was an athlete, never really did a lot of that type of shit, but he liked it.
Nick is you heard it first here. Nick has never done anything, folks.
I mean, physical athlete, he's not a sports person, he doesn't do it. That's not him.
I play football, but okay.
Did you play football?
Yeah.
Like football, like
Yeah, actual
organized?
football.
Oh, I didn't know that. You
Yeah.
never said that to me. So I'm just going.
He's never done anything. Don't let him fool you.
I'm still going with the Nick that I know.
Where's your Letterman bet?
Nick's not a sports guy.
I got
so
mine.
That's
for,
what CM
for
Punk
swimming.
was.
So I spent a lot of time with men in bikinis. So
CM Punk was a guy who he liked wrestling, so he got into wrestling. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying wrestling they don't take physical abuse, but I'm just saying like it's a different aspect because you know what it is. When you but Brock, but see, but that's a different. But those are different conversations.
Batista fought UFC too.
You can't say these
MMA.
people's
I don't
names.
think he ever made
Like,
UFC.
but you're saying names that are people like besides Batista, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, Bobby Lashley. All of them are legit, actual fucking wrestlers. Like wrestlers.
Why did Lashley never fight over here? Why did he only fight overseas?
He fought in Strike Force or whatever that shit was.
Yeah,
called.
but wasn't he? Isn't he juiced to the gills?
Nah, not that I heard. I never heard him.
He wasn't on some.
That nigga's been big since wrestling to consistent. I've never seen a small version of Bobby Lashley ever.
No, but no, I agree with you because there are like when it comes to CM Punk, there are people that are wrestlers but professional, quote unquote wrestlers.
This is like, yo, if you're not an
versus
athlete, if you're not a
actual
physical
wrestler.
athlete, like we talked about the Roman Reigns comment that he said about CM Punk and da.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, yeah, because Roman Reigns is almost 6'5", 6'6". Like and he played football. He was in the NFL. If he didn't have leukemia, he probably could have still been there. Like he's actually a actual physical fucking athlete.
Yeah.
Like it's not these little 100 and something pound, 205 pound guy doing 300 flips.
Yeah.
Like it's not trying to be a dick because I love it and I enjoy it. Like I'm a Rey Mysterio fan. I love cruiserweights, but it's like, nah, when you really see a physically opposing person, let's not make it look stupid. And that's my only real critique about wrestling a lot of the time is I hate that aspect.
Yeah. So going back to what we're, I guess, saying, the ups and downs. So when you left off right before like the best era would be
the quote unquote right now best era, yeah.
Yeah. Because now he said it to me recently, like even when I was living
I dropped out in the 80s.
And you missed out on a great 90s WCW run, but WWE run. And that's not, but the thing is like, you know what it is about wrestling is one of those things is like for a fan, like to be a wrestling fan.
Never.
It's not that you have to like, but if you don't get it, it's like when you watch an action movie, there's people out there that like action movies, but they only like certain type of action movies. Let's say like the Kung Fu flick guy or the guy who likes gunner movies, or cowboy movies. You know what I mean? Like, so wrestling is a very unique taste. Like for me, I like certain shit. Sometimes it's shit that I hate. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I love everything, but yeah.
And it does go up and down. Like I would say now it's more up than anything else.
It's because of the shit going on but it's only in the community. See, the thing is about it is like they
it's not like Hulk Hogan in the 80s.
No, because not even Hulk Hogan, because Hulk Hogan wasn't even that big, to be honest. Like no, he wasn't.
But
Austin was bigger. Austin was bigger
than Hogan ever.
Yes.
No.
Look at the numbers.
No.
Look at the numbers.
Are you including inflation?
Look at the numbers of merch sold.
Okay.
Value of everything that Austin did.
No one to me.
And don't get me wrong. You know how I feel about Austin.
I believe you. But the thing is this: Hogan been in movies.
No, and I agree, but Austin did the same shit.
Hogan was fucking Suburban Nanny.
All right. So if you want to pull fucking one of my favorite fucking movies out.
But not even just that.
I love Suburban Nanny and fucking
Thunder Lips and fucking Rocky 3.
No, but he was Thunder Lips was before WWE run.
Okay.
So let's just put that out there.
No matter the situation, I understand that. And I 100% agree with you. The thing is,
but I'm not trying to shit on him. I'm just saying. But I'm not shitting on Hogan because honestly, when Hogan was doing NWO, was with Austin, like Austin's run was running parallel
when I go to Florida and get the
like listen, that's one of the main things you got to realize. Like Austin's biggest run was running parallel with NWO, and he beat NWO Dolo.
No.
Dolo.
No.
His character with don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Dodo like
Are you
obviously
talking
he
about
had
when
other
NWO
wrestlers.
came to WWE?
No, I'm talking about in ratings in the aspect of being want to watch. I went at 8 o'clock and I said
Stop it.
at a point in time.
It wasn't.
What are you talking about, nigga? It's fucking facts.
It was DX, The Rock, and Stone
It's
Cold.
fucking
It was
facts.
all three of them.
I'm not saying that it wasn't. They weren't part of it. I'm saying Stone Cold was a major part of it.
Major part. You were saying
Stone Cold did the beard.
Himself.
All right, so all right, because you're not a wrestling fan, so it's hard to really yell at you about certain shit.
You or me?
Like it's like when he did like the beer shit. Like there's certain things that Austin, like there's moments of Austin that you gotta understand. Like in the way when they talk about like the ratings and shit, that's what it was. Like the show started, Austin bringing in a beer truck, Austin bringing in a Zamboni, Austin coming in and jumping in and jumping.
Didn't Kurt Angle bring in a milk truck?
Mm-hmm. He did, and I'm proud of you for that. Because that was one of the great moments.
Thanks, Dad.
Proud of you for that.
He's so proud. I'm not saying I was in a vacuum. I'm saying I was exposed to it. I just wasn't like
no, but I'm just saying like
TiVoing it every.
It's not.
That was before TiVo. God damn it!
I'm just saying like it's trust me because I felt the same way y'all feel. I've listened to people. I've looked up. And it's just. Number wise and the way they do shit, Austin technically was bigger than what. Don't get me wrong, Hogan did more because he helped it carry to a point to get to another point, and I'm never gonna not say that because he even when he left WWF,
Ultimate Maniacs.
No, but the thing
greatest
is, like,
of all time.
When he left WWF and WWF had only the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, the very generic,
little
basic
sweet
aspect. And he went to WCW and he was being regular Hogan. Nobody fucked with him.
Okay.
And then he went NWO Hogan.
Yeah.
Is that when he was Black Mustaches Matter?
That's NWO Hogan. That's literally right before it, he's a little bit like skinnier and different.
I think
like I get what you're saying. No, I get what he's saying, but I'm just trying to like explain it. Like
anyway,
I was trying to just work through it, goddammit.
So you just said Ultimate Maniacs. Is that better than
the Ultimate Maniacs, or better than anything you're about
Ultimate
to say?
Maniacs is better than what? Mega Powers?
Mega Powers?
No, Mega Powers is way better.
Wait, who's Mega Powers again?
Mega Powers is Hogan
Macho
and
Man.
Macho Man.
No, who is the Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man?
Ultimate Warrior
is Ultimate Macho Man.
Is what?
No, Ultimate Maniacs.
Ultimate Maniacs is Macho Man and Warrior.
Yeah, that's the best ever.
It's not Macho Man and Warrior.
Who is it?
Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior.
When was
Maniacs? Hulkamaniacs.
When was it?
Ultimate
what?
Warrior.
No one's paying attention. No one's listening. When was it? Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior. What were they called?
No, Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior. I don't think they ever did it. I'll wait till he comes back, even though he was wrong what he just said. I'll wait till he comes back. But
I came here to talk about Dune, and now we're talking about wrestling, something I am completely unskilled in. I thought there was Ultimate Maniacs was a
Ultimate Maniacs is Hulkamaniacs, which is Hulk Hogan, and Ultimate Warrior. They were together.
But when did Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior?
Macho Man and Hulk were the super. Wait, stop. Superpowers.
I'm gonna let you go to see what you say,
but
you sounded wrong.
This is the no.
When did Macho Man and the Ultimate Warrior team up? What were they called?
It's
because you were wrong.
No, I got the name wrong, but there are a team.
Ultimate Maniacs is Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior.
There's never been a team. That's why I'm saying like
Ultimate
you're wrong.
Maniacs?
That's not an actual team. That's never been an actual team. Like
so
when Macho Man and Warrior work together, they work together for a longer program. Like Macho Man and Warrior, Hogan and Warrior didn't work together that long.
What were they called?
I forgot the name. It's something close. It's like Ultimate Man or some shit like I can't remember, but it's in between that. I just can't remember what actual reference they use because I know WCW used Macho Madness, but I forgot what WWF used. Because in between that is Macho King and other shit. Macho Man was all over the fucking place.
So he did team up with Ultimate Warrior?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a thing. Can you put it out over there, right next to the sink?
Oh, I misspoke. The Ultimate Maniacs were a tag team combination formed of former rivals Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man Randy Savage after Savage successfully defended his title against Warrior in SummerSlam 1992. They competed up until that the following October. So instead of saying the Ultimate Maniacs, I should have said, I did say the Ultimate Maniac. I was right.
That's what
I was right. I said Hulk
I
Hogan.
kept saying you were right.
You didn't say you're right. You walked to the bathroom and said you were wrong.
I said Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior were a team. I went to go pee, and I knew you were going to say Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior were a team. And I was like, you know what? I got to pee more than correcting you. So I decided to pee.
Why
to do that.
Didn't you just say Hulk
It's
Hogan?
a new metric of having to urinate more than having to correct somebody.
Didn't you just say Hulk Hogan?
You should have really pinched it and corrected the person and then had a victory piss. That's the sequence of events as you hold it, and even though how intense it's getting, you make your point and then you go victory piss.
But I wanted to hear what he said. Like this, sometimes I enjoy hearing somebody be wrong.
So, anyways,
I watched so passionate.
I watched Chucky TV series for the first time today. I believe that's what we were moving on to away from wrestling, something that I cannot.
All right, it's episode 2 and 3 because we did.
Yeah, it's only 3 episodes.
Yeah, so it's episode 2 and 3.
I watched the last 5 minutes of episode 3. I have not seen episode 1 or 2, but let me give you my take on the first 2 episodes I haven't seen. I guess you can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, you can say it sucks if you feel like it sucks for the 10 minutes you watch or 15 minutes.
I don't have enough in to do that.
I mean, we already started saying it wasn't a great show. Like, I'm not a super fan of it, but I enjoy this nigga's Dakota ring is going on.
It's the commissioner.
Oh, he's a Batman fan. Another one.
Yeah. As you see, I was trying to give him something different, but yeah, I had to go right to the fucking Dark Knight. Fucking piece of shit, bad.
That's the only thing I don't like about his friends. Little Batman.
You know what's fucked up? I was trying to watch Batman Adventures, and I realized I skipped over the first season and go right to Batman and Robin Adventures. Fuck y'all niggas. Batman.
It got worse when
it got way better when it got Batman involved. And then when they put Tim Drake in there and they didn't have him turn into Dark Knight. Nah, that was the worst one. But but they're all the same. The only thing is that they get semi-lighter.
No, the art changes.
No, not that much. Season. Not that. Well, the third one, yeah. Because the second and the first season, technically,
it's 5 seasons.
It's 5 seasons. They're breaking down to 3 on HBO Max.
Yeah, so it's not up there yet.
Yeah.
Season, I think it's the same.
No, they're not. There's not 2 more seasons coming out, nigga. That's it. The 3 seasons, because that's what it is.
I thought it was 5.
There's not. There's a Batman season, and then within that Batman season, Robin grows up, and then they turn into Batman and Robin, and they go through the Batman and Robin series, and then after that, they go back to Batman, but they do it with the Tim Drake version of Robin, and he turns its Dick Grayson turns into Nightwing, and then they go from there. That's where they get Batgirl. Like in between that, Batgirl gets introduced, and they go on from there. Like it's a very hard watch. Like it's a lot of episodes because like Superman, I ran through the original Superman mad quick, but like to watch the original Batman, you gotta like there's mad episodes.
So the only reason is I haven't looked to it. I could remember, and again, you could be right. I'm just saying, I'm just remembering like 5 seasons on the DVDs for animated.
No, that's how they broke it down. But the thing is, that breakdown is very weird because it wasn't like advertised as a new season or a new show. It was just advertised as Batman, and then it became just the Batman Robin series. And it kept going and then going, and then they revamped it back to just being Batman, like how they advertise it.
It was only
but they were doing the little kid
that they had the different artists and shit. Right?
Yeah. The last season had the different artists and they had the little kid, but the different artist wasn't that bad of an artist. He was going into Justice League, but he was trying to do Batman shit. Where it was like when you watch the original season of Batman, it's a very different type of drawing and a different gangster. 18, 19s, whatever,
like noir,
20s, yeah.
It was like noir, but it was like very dark, the art. And not dark as in like creepy or anything. It was dark like in the shading and all that.
No, it had a good gangster old school vibe, like watching like not a Goodfellas, The Untouchables.
Yeah.
Like that type of movie. That's the vibe it gave.
And then it goes into like late 90s when they put out Superman's super bright, and then you have artists that have like from Superman to this.
They did that with the last episode because the last episode basically
we got
goes
people.
right into fucking because it's what Batman's the last episode goes into Superman came.
Thomas?
Superman was out at the same time as Batman's last season.
Yeah.
Because they went and they ended both of it all together to go into Justice League.
Okay.
And that's the whole shit. Yeah.
Fuck it. Let's talk about Chucky.
So
we're gonna write the next 2 episodes, and we're gonna ruin it for my nephew. And
that's what I live for.
So anyway, so it's the new TV series, like we said in the last episode, and basically we leave off with this one. I think the major thing that happened was that the popular girl and his cousin or whatever, they throw a house party. Because I'm guessing they're in California.
Yeah, they have to. No, they're not in California. They're in Hoboken. They say it the whole time.
Really?
Yeah. This is the nicest Indian summer that anybody's ever had in their life. Like where you don't ever have to wear a hoodie or anything. You just wear long sleeves and you're fine.
So they go.
But they're technically, in Hoboken.
They throw a house party and it's like a Halloween party. Chucky befriends the main girl's sister, and from what I'm taking it from episode 3 is that she's maybe a little autistic.
She is autistic. Yeah, she is. I kind of had that feeling, and then the episode made me confirm it for me at least.
The third one definitely.
Yeah.
So then, Chucky kind of was playing like video games with her, and she's in the basement of this crazy party, and all these teenagers that are under 18 are just doing this crazy stuff that in the 90s you would have saw like cocaine and all this stuff thrown out there. But this one, it was just
if you're a high school kid with cocaine in the 90s, nigga, where the fuck you were getting this money from?
I think I don't know.
Nah, you could get crack. Not
well, we're talking about rich people, because all those parties that happen in the 90s movies when they're doing like teen movies were all at like rich people's house.
Nah, because the mom, basically, I don't know if you caught it in the 3rd episode, they say that the parents of the girl is like the mayor.
Like a mayor.
He's the mayor. Yeah. So like they got money. We know they got money and shit.
That's what I'm saying. So it was just like a new school kind of. We're trying to make it for a TV party, and then Chucky's befriending the autistic girl, and at the same time, the nerdy kid is trying to tell the podcast guy, like they're trying to like.
Can I just say I don't trust that motherfucker?
The podcast guy.
Like I feel like there's gonna be an episode randomly where, because if you really look at how the 3rd episode went, he was cutting and editing his conversation.
You know what?
I'm like, yo, he about to do some suspect shit. No. And you won't get murked out by the second to last episode. And I'm facts.
Yeah.
Let's
Chucky
go.
said it definitely killed him.
Yeah.
But I look at it as like he called his mom detective.
Okay.
So I don't know if his mom's supposed to be a cop.
She is a cop, nigga. That's you are. I feel like I paid too much attention to this shit.
Because you guys came over, it was loud as hell.
It's called rewatching. Nigga, I gave you extra days.
I got shit to do. I got to worry about a house, motherfucker.
Hello. The 2nd episode. She's the detective that's been asking all the questions.
Yeah, no, I know. The 3rd episode, mind you, the 3rd episode, she was asking questions at the beginning of the episode too. But
see, I didn't even notice that. I wasn't paying too close attention.
The whole town of Hoboken. Hoboken never had a black person until Chucky.
But
you really don't pay attention.
No, well, you guys came over.
Listen, I watched it by myself, and I took the time to get in and
by yourself
and take it in, because I know the distractions are real. But not that was his mom. So like, there's certain indications or in the windows that will point out what's gonna happen. Like.
In the windows, yeah. In the windows.
Like homeboy that died in this episode, the 3rd episode. Even though he's seen it, but I'm gonna just be nice.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
be nice to him. I wanted him to die in the first episode after I seen him.
But
Honestly.
but
And then watching him die what made me more
Okay.
gratifying. This is like the
But-
show sucks.
it does.
It has
It's
moments that are just fun. They're
Yes.
fun moments.
yes.
So like this kid dying, what made it fun was, oh shit, I thought you were this bitch. Fuck it, I'm gonna kill you anyway. And it was like, that's fun for me, like, because it was like that kid deserved to die anyway because he was a piece of shit.
Yeah. And it's funny because you would have been that guy trying to steal the other girls.
No, I want to do that when it's proper.
He would have done it. But anyway, the whole point was like, yes, it's a horrible show. And I almost kind of related because I started watching the first episode of I Still Know What You Did Last Summer on Prime.
What, the new one?
Yeah, it's a show.
Ah,
I
you
thought it was a
dumb fuck.
movie.
I can't watch the new one. I won't do it.
And they're switching things around, but I was just like, I knew the end of the show like
Yeah.
all right, who, like, you know, it's like almost like a remake of the film
Mhm.
where it's these drunk, but again, it's like this day and age, drunk, rich, white, well, not just white, but it was black and Asian people in there and Spanish people. And their parents were in the house, but people were still doing cocaine on the fucking on the bathroom, and then they were drinking as all these underage people. It was weird. And then once they hit the person, I already knew who it was because, you know, we could talk about that show too, but I'll wait.
No, we're getting into that. Yeah,
But it was kind of like the main characters are twins, and one's supposed to be the hoary, badass rebel, and the other one's a stupid, super kind girl. So I already knew when the ending was happening, and spoiler alert, I don't give a fuck. It's the first episode. One of the twins is driving the car, and you could tell that she's mad, and all these people are in there that they acknowledge as like druggy young people. And of course, everyone's filming everything. And I was like, all right, she hit her sister, and it's not the sister you think it is. Like that, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, oh, so now the only interest to me is like, is the sister that they think that they killed going to be the killer? Or is someone in that truck
the person
that knew everything was happening is going to be a killer? That's the only thing. But if it's a sister, it's kind of like, you're a dumb fucking, and I'm not.
That's what makes the
spoiling.
Chucky shit awesome. Like the Chucky aspect, like if you really like when you're watching this third episode, one of the things that I actually did kind of like besides the basic shit, it was like a part of time I was actually thinking like, oh, that would actually be a cool twist of Chucky just becomes the voice in the kid's head and makes the kid a
Yes.
killer. Then I would be like, that would have been ill.
See,
Like, because he would have went, killed everybody, and Chucky would have,
yes.
he'd be like, no, but he told me to, da da da. And then boom, that's
See,
how you end the show. I
that-
just made a great show.
That I'll give you that. Even though me and Marissa did something that we make great movies when we're together.
Yeah.
But that's a perfect aspect. I would love to see someone get. I hope the writer has the balls to do that. Where it's just like, no. Make this kid, because he likes that podcast with the crime, make him so into like serial killers and make Chucky part of the lore.
Yeah.
But he thinks that since he got a good guy doll, Chucky is actually alive killing people, but it's only a voice in his head that he's really killing people. And like you said, I would praise that show all day. I'd be like, that's the greatest writing you could do instead of making it. But I'll give you this. I don't know if you saw the remake when they tried to make it like a robot doll.
I've seen it, but I don't remember it as well.
The thing I took from that, it was you know how like when Chucky's face goes evil, back in the day, and even with this new show, I appreciate it. They make it look cool, like it looks evil. In that fucking remake movie, horrendous. When he turned evil, it was like a weird thing. Like, what is that face?
It felt I remember, I felt like it was like a robot, like moving. He moved like
it was
a
an
robot.
actual robot.
Like it was like I remember kind of watch. I know I watched one of those random remakes that they did with you. I think it was like before they got to the robot, but like Chucky is a fucking. The funny thing about that character is that you don't have to overly make it serious. You just got to make it make a little bit of sense and just enjoy watching him kill, because he's a funny character. Like the laugh, like that's why I said before when we was like, I think it's the original guy. I was like, one of the main things that always make Chucky awesome was like that little laugh that he has, like when you know he's doing fucked up shit. It's that character, like that character is the cool bad guy. Let him be the cool bad guy. You know what I mean? Like that's all it is. Like fucking Bride of Chucky didn't go smoke weed. Hey,
I know. But I didn't like Bride of Chucky or Cedar Chucky.
No, I like
Those
Bride
are
of Chucky more than Cedar Chucky. I'll say that.
both.
I mean, in
I felt like
in the aspect of the franchise,
Yeah.
obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was just like 1 and 2, I could rewatch all day, and it had a, early 90s horror aspect to it. Again, with the trying to make it. But even with this show, which I also kind of think is funny, is kind of like when you're watching it as an adult,
Yeah.
those old movies.
Yeah, I would
have
have kicked that motherfucker.
A fucking doll is choking you out from the back and the legs are flipping. Like,
unless he got human strength.
like
They never really explained, besides the fact that he has human form, they never said he had human strength or anything like that. So it just is what it is. All I know is there's a lot of feel good and pumping aspects of me kicking a doll in the face. Like, yo, what was it? The first episode when they were in the classroom and he's in front of the door. I would be like, yo, my nigga, I'm a front kick you in the face, and it's be like, huh? Bow! He would just caught my whole foot in his face. Like, you're not big enough with me, my nigga. When they say your arms are too short to box with God, you're literally that concept. You should never get killed by a midget. You die by a midget, you're something real.
Well,
honestly,
a doll rather than a midget.
No, you fuck that. Midgets
are real.
Fuck that. In general, hey, we gonna write to I'm gonna get you sucker. But these niggas was jumping out of hats and shooting at people.
So just to take from the last 2 episodes, basically in episode 2, they have a party. The main girl that's dating the main character's cousin dresses up like his dad and like being in the middle of the
she got electrocuted. Yeah.
So the main guy goes back home and Chuck is like, yeah, you should kill her. And then this is where we were talking about if they go this route where it's like Chucky's trying to make him the actual killer.
And it had a good sell to it.
It did, because he was kind of thinking about it. And I kind of like how they're playing, like going back to our first episode where it's like things are forced. Now it's just kind of like, now I could see it. Okay, he's getting made fun of for being bisexual.
It had a good, smart aspect. It's just kill.
And then if he becomes a killer, you could see the reason why in the transition.
I need him to get some blood on his hand before that season ends, so you can make me wait. Nice. Oh damn, that was worse than I thought.
I don't even know. Hold on a second.
We got our first spell ever on.
Yeah, and
Sight
I gotta
Beyond
say,
Sight.
it wasn't Andrew.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we're not going to get shot.
Nick doesn't have mops apparently.
I was asking what he wanted to.
There's more
in his thing, and it just the top wasn't on.
What? There's more paper in
This was a great moment. It made me like if the camera would have caught the OJ flying in the air, it would have made it even better.
Thomas.
I was asking you like this.
It's okay, so
I was presenting like a bottle of champagne like this if you wanted this, and it just was like, and I was full.
Which is even better. That fact that he said he presented like a bottle of champagne.
It does taste good.
Like that shit popped out of his hand.
Yeah, it's all good.
But as we go into wherever we were talking about.
No. All right, no. I was just trying to explain like the main thing of the like what you got to take out the last 2 episodes. So 1, they end. Well, 2 was kind of majority of the party. He's going back and forth. The kid with the podcast. He's trying like. You could see a little flirting here and there. They have that thing in the closet when they push him in the closet.
Do you think that was flirting, or you think that was suspect aspect? Like
no,
that nigga, I feel like he's trying to play him.
I go back to what you're saying. I feel like, if you're gonna throw twists out there, 1, Chucky's in his head, and 2, he's not gay. Like he could think about like say the last episode. He's just
the
like,
way he was moving, but the way he
it's
moved,
just because he's awkward.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, no, I like the podcast. Like he's a cool person. I don't like him because he never like I feel like the show, and again, I hope it's good writing. I feel like the show is showing like he's just awkward. There's nothing showing that he's actually like
not there, and he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that you have to do shit or have shit, but just saying in the general aspect, he doesn't come off in that aspect. Like even in the show, like in the beginning of this episode, he had that he was just vibing and he felt he felt uncomfortable. Maybe he felt like him hands on his shoulder made him feel like, oh, this is why everybody says this.
Yeah.
And that's that. Like
So
it
that's
just
why-
is what it is. But at the end of the day, like I just want him to kill somebody.
I'm waiting for that too, but give it to. The
I want
last
him
two
to kill the
episodes.
girl. Like, but you know what?
Yes.
The last two episodes, like, and that's where a season 2 will be great. Granted, don't let him get caught off the kill. If it's
Of
gonna,
course not,
if he's
yeah.
gonna kill him the last 2 episodes, he can't get caught.
No.
That has to go into
No.
season 2.
Chucky has to teach him not to.
Yeah, and then from there we could build, and it would be so much better.
Yeah.
Like, cause don't get me wrong, it's like that love-hate relationship where it's like, I don't really like you, but you have little things that I'm like, you can make it better, it'd be worth it. Honestly. And that's
I'm glad I brought you the first spell.
he bought us our first spill.
I was trying to present the bottle and it slipped half was not.
Hey, in life,
All Thomas's fault. I'll blame
everything's
Thomas.
I appreciate you guys.
like I had a
Believe in-
Mephisto or
Oh,
like a good prophecy word to say, but
Sorry.
I can't
It's
think
good.
of it.
I'm not mad. But
Are we just fist bumping? Let's go. The power of the fist.
All right.
Everyone's leaving, people. This is a live podcast. But
We ain't got no cuts, no edits, nigga. What the fuck?
so all you take is that he after that all that happens, Chucky tells him to kill the girl. The third episode is him, like Chucky teaching him how to track her down and all
Yeah,
this
but see,
stuff.
that was cool. Like,
Yeah.
see, that's why it got me mad because like the way the episode ended
yeah.
was like, damn. But like the
Mm.
episode throughout was actually interesting because I
Yes.
was like, why his shit keep going off like that? And then I'm thinking text.
Yeah. I was
And then you
thinking
show
that
him
too.
like tracking, and I was like, oh shit, that was dope. Like, if you could get me while I'm watching to be like,
Yes.
oh shit, why didn't you stab him? And then realize like, oh, it's his cousin. I was like, should have stabbed that nigga
Yeah.
anyway.
You know, again, we're talking spoilers, whatever. Like what he's talking about is Chucky's telling him, like, yo, there's a perfect time to kill her when she's alone.
Yeah.
So he thinks that he took since he like did something with her phone. I don't know if it's an iPhone thing,
Nah, yeah.
but
It's like a tracker
she
shit
used
for the
to- yeah.
iPhone. Yeah.
so she was like jogging. He thought she was jogging in the rooms by herself, but it was his cousin who's dating her had her phone. He almost stabbed him. So it was kind of like he pulled back right at the last moment. But it was like you said, it was a great thing because it keeps you in. Like, is he gonna kill her?
Nah, that
And
it
then when you
helped me
realize,
throughout
like,
the whole
oh,
episode.
shit.
And that's literally like it sucked. Like as we talk about it, like because it makes me think about it more. Like I was watching, and I'm just like, all right, like you know, it had the uncomfortable moment in the beginning, but then once they got past the Chucky dialogue of talking
Yeah.
to him, and then you start to see, and then they start teasing like his darkness.
Yeah,
I was like, fuck, now I'm into it, and it got me through the rest of the episode,
yeah,
which was fine. Like because then I'm like, now I'm invested. Now I'm gonna watch for it.
yeah. So
Like you know what I
basically,
mean? Like.
what we're getting at is Chucky's telling this motherfucker to kill her,
Mhm.
and I think he's moving into it. So it's just kind of like he's not there yet, but I feel like one of the last two episodes, he's gonna actually do it.
It's giving it that
Yeah.
that energy where he's gonna, because he's not even like, it's not even like the hints type shit where it's like, because I thought this would have happened like when he was in the garage with the girl.
Oh, when he was testing it,
Yeah,
that was
and
another thing.
I was
gotta
like,
say
if
I
he
liked
says
about
to
it.
her like, because between the mixtures of the tracking her and that,
Mhm.
I was waiting for this dog's trying to get me to kill you, or it's gonna like one of those sucker
Oh,
aspects.
Yeah, okay.
And then it was like, oh no, he's actually contemplating possibly doing it.
Yeah,
I was like, now this is more interesting.
yeah,
Like the show, all right, listen, I say the show sucks because in the
it
general
does.
aspect, it
It
sucks.
sucks.
But for the stupid aspects, it's good. Like, I'm not gonna say it's great,
It's-
like must
okay.
watch.
Maybe
but it's
sucks
good
is a
for-
bad
yeah,
word,
that's what
because
I'm saying,
I totally
like,
agree with you.
Yeah.
It's not something that I'm waiting to see the next episode. It's something that, I'll watch it and I might enjoy certain aspects. Like
Yeah.
even with this last episode, that was one of the cool things. So I was just like, yo, if he were to become a Chucky and Michael Myers, like and Jason, like they all have certain weapons. So I was like, yo, and again, it goes to writing. Do something new. Like when he had that weird
Mhm.
hatchet, like
See,
bendy
yeah.
knife thing, and
That
he was
would've been
testing it out, or a
interesting.
crowbar. I'd have been like, yo, good. Want him to test out a weapon that works for him and let him be a new killer.
You
It'll
know
work
what?
out.
One of the things, and as I think about all this shit, because I try to like predict shit. Fucking what's gonna happen right now, the way it's working, and I'm telling you right now, spoiler alert, I got y'all niggas.
He knows the writers.
Yep. If you watch how the show was shot, when they exchange their hands of the knife, is kind of showing you the aspect of fingerprint. If you don't remember in the original, like all those other Chucky movies, and one of the things, you can't get the fingerprint. That's why in the first movie everybody thought Andy was crazy.
Yeah.
All of this shit. That's basically where they're gonna kind of touch into. Where I could see him. Chucky's gonna be the person killing everybody.
Yeah.
But he's using that knife, which is his calling card, I guess you could say. And that's gonna be the thing that they're gonna turn around and be like, "See, we told you he's crazy," and then boom, from there. There is still the episode I'm waiting for the sister in episode in the season. Movie 2, because she's in it. The sister, the stepsister.
Okay.
She's supposed to be in it. So I'm waiting to see how that
works out.
Yeah, how they decide to throw her in there.
You think they're gonna bring Andy back in?
I feel like they will, and that's gonna be like a post credit if they do.
Okay.
There's gonna be something at the end to make you go, "Oh, I want to watch again next October because it's convenient."
Yeah.
To do it, like
I'll agree with that. Yeah, this is one of those shows that again isn't
that show doesn't pop in April. That show would never pop in April. It's October. People go to sci-fi. People are looking for
horror,
something like that, and it's like, oh, I will watch this show and do it. It's a very smart tactic. Like whoever thought about this, you put money in your pocket, my guy.
Yeah,
honestly, you put money in your pocket. Like it was a smart tactic.
That's why they tried to do with the Halloween movie.
Yeah,
they were just.
But the Halloween movie, they could have. That's a whole nother in detail shit that. Because it was like, oh yeah, it's simple to this and yeah, like, but that's the whole scenario. As like, what is it with the Friday the 13th? Friday the 13th. Any chance they get to see a Friday on the calendar of any month, and it's the 13th.
Yep.
A&E, I mean not A&E, AMC will be like, oh, we're gonna do a Friday the 13th marathon, and it's like, yo, you're not even worth watching it on because y'all take away all the good aspects of what makes that movie.
Yeah, you gotta
have the news, you gotta have like the fucking stupid kills. Like,
see, I think that's such a weird thing to me when it comes to that, where it's just kind of like, the 80s movies were in the early 90s where the horror movies were.
Oh no, you seen Fat Pussy and Fat Bush?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
like you ain't know.
Stupid kills, dumb shit like that. But at the same time, it's kind of like, but it works. You know what I'm saying?
No, but it worked for that aspect. Like it just works for those type of shits.
Yeah.
But that's the whole shit with the horror aspect. Like, what is it? The new Resident Evil movie.
Oh, I saw the trailer. Yeah.
It's supposed to be coming out soon, apparently. But it's in the theaters, and it's like whoever I want to be stupid enough to go watch it, but I'm still hoping Honest 16 has $7 Tuesdays, like at price Tuesday, because I don't want to pay full price, but I will go watch it for a lower price.
Yeah,
unless I could watch it for free, because I know it's indie-rific. It is literally like you can literally see it by the picture, but they're like. To kill a big name franchise in a world where gamers love, and there are snippets of movie fans of it, you really went OD indie when you could have just been like, fuck it, let's revamp it with all the technology we have now. You didn't even have to you could put the B and C list stars, and Idris Elba would have been a perfect black dude in the movie. I can't even tell you what character he could have been. But he would have been perfect black dude. And I'm just saying, like shit like that, like those characters where it's like you got to give them that reason. Like, all right, you know how the guy who played in Sonic was in Smallville.
Yeah.
You know who knows that? Us.
Yeah.
People that know that. Besides that, nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Put them in some shit that's relevant, that's actually good, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Being relevant is all that it is that matters. That's why the Chucky shit's about to be what it is. That's why the way DC is about to go into this shit, as I'm bringing up DC topics for a reason to talk about DC shit. These are all fucking reasons of builds. So as we go into now the DC world, we're going to go right into the shits, DC fandom, and all the aspects of it. Trailers.
I thought you were going to go to Why the Last Man, because that's technically DC.
No, Why the Last Man is a show that we're gonna have a quick talk. It feels like because
We could do that at the end of this.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a quick DC break because it doesn't have a lot.
Actually,
It has a lot, but it doesn't like it depends. Like because it has a lot for me because I do the video game world too.
okay.
So
Yeah, but no, it had. Well, I'll talk about because I'm gonna bring the two of my favorites at the end of it, but I want to talk about the ones that weren't my favorites. That
the ones that didn't stand out that people talked about.
yeah, and in my opinion,
Mm.
I feel like one of them is Flash.
And you know what's all right? Listen, the Flash trailer, watch it. I wasn't in love with it. I was a sucker for the. I think it was like what, probably the 10 seconds right before the end.
Yeah.
When he runs and you see the look and you see the light shit, and it was like, oh shit, that actually looks like a legit Flash costume, like a cooler, like the one in Justice League looked like cosplay. It looked like blocky aspects of stupidity when it should have been just spandex because it makes sense for a guy who runs super duper fast. But it is what it is. You know, Zack Snyder is your god, it's not mine. So I enjoyed it. I know Michael Keaton was the Batman that they seen when
Supposedly.
no, it is. It's Michael
still
Keaton.
rumors.
It's Michael Keaton. Let's stop fucking with the rumors.
Yeah, but
If
you
it's
won't
not
give it up.
him, listen, if I watch that fucking movie, I don't care how many minutes
It's the
in,
same
and I
aspect
put it on
as
and I see
the-
Ben Affleck old, I'm turning it off. That's literally, give me Michael Keaton.
The only reason why I say speculated is the same reason why I say the same thing about the Spider-Man movie is speculated that Toby and Garfield are going to be in it. Not
Toby
necessarily
and
true.
Garfield, Garfield should run home and just do
No,
what he's been
because
doing for the last
I
5
think-
years or whatever.
And the guy said only, but he is known. The director is known for lying. That he said that only the Doctor Octopus and Green Goblin are coming back, not Mysterio or Lizard.
Because
but
they already announced that there's a secret villain that came back. Yeah.
we'll see because he's known for lying. But anyway, we go back to what we're saying, DC fandom. So no, I agree with you because I'm watching the movie. It's not that I don't like that actor, but I don't like that actor as Flash. And
No, he's a shitty Flash,
yeah.
but the costume I was hoping would just look good.
Well, yeah, the costume's another thing, but I don't know.
There's nothing about him that's Flash. There's no Barry Allen. There's no Wally West. There is nothing about him that is Flash.
That is Flash. No,
I'm sorry.
It's a fucking aspect. Like
That's all it is. I don't know what he did to get that role, what it was, but he
But-
doesn't deserve it. Like I could accept what's his name, Jason Momoa as
you know
Aquaman,
who-
and because he has the build of Aquaman, and he doesn't have to have blonde hair to do it, but he's built like the brolic version of an Aquaman,
Yeah.
so which I fucks with. It's fine. Like you know what I'm saying? Like sure,
And we'll get
it
into
made
the
sense. It made
Aquaman
sense.
because
Yeah,
there's
nah,
Aquaman
yeah,
trailer,
yeah.
but I don't want to lose this Flash shit.
all right, go
because
more in detail
I
to whatever you gotta
feel
say
like
about Flash.
personally, if you're gonna play the jokey Barry Allen-esque character,
So you're saying like the Justice League version aspect?
yeah, if you're
Okay.
gonna not the Justice League movie. I'm saying the Justice
No,
League
the cartoon. Yeah.
If you're gonna do that Barry Allen, you should have put Star-Lord. He
Okay.
would have been perfect for that, but that's
Okay.
if it's like because if you're trying to think of the Justice League movie, comic relief you're looking for, even though you want to make it dark and you don't want to make it like Marvel and blah 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 blah. So,
But they
okay,
didn't have. Definitely didn't pick the right actor to play that. Because the thing about like the cartoon version of Flash, he was humble, but at the same time was very calm, relaxed. Like he was that person on the team, like the main four, whatever you want to say, whatever main team they used.
Yeah.
When he was on there, he was a lighthearted. Hey, like yo, we're
He
gonna
was
be
He was
fine.
a comic relief.
Yeah, but at the same time, you would
lighthearted,
see
yeah.
him bust ass. Like
Yeah.
there wasn't like you would watch him make a joke and then they go into the fight scenes and Flash was getting his ass whipped. Flash never really was gonna like he would do something. Like that's one of the things I loved about that shit.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's the whole problem with that. But the Flash movie, no, it didn't excite me. Like to me, it was just kind of like one, I don't like that actor.
I don't
playing
like
him.
that
I don't
actor,
like-
and I agree.
I don't like that Flash. So even if it's Michael Keaton, I'd rather, to be
Okay.
100% honest, if you're gonna do a Michael Keaton Batman, do Batman Beyond.
And I get that, and
That's
that's a whole
it.
nother conversation because
Yeah.
that's a whole different
That is.
thought aspect.
Yeah.
Because like the Flash, don't get me wrong, like I'm not. Listen,
Yeah, it's
I
going
want
to
the Flash to be
multiverse.
great,
Yeah.
and I can't wait like for a good Flash movie or a good Flash concept. Hey, get a Ginger. Gingers need love too.
That's
Fucking
evil.
like, I want that, but I know I'm not getting that. But I could go from that to going into Black Adam. And we're gonna use Black Adam and Shazam in the same conversation.
Oh.
Because they're kind of going to have to connect sooner or
They
later.
have to,
But I don't know how you felt about Black Adam trailer, but I watched the Black Adam trailer. I'm not gonna say I loved it, but I liked where they kind of hinted where they were possibly gonna go towards. But I wasn't sure. I'm not sure until I get a real trailer.
See, this is where I agree with you. I actually like because it really wasn't a trailer, except for it was like a couple, like 30 seconds worth of.
It's just showing you
the
like
intro
stills of
yeah.
shit. Yeah, like a comic book panels, let's say.
To me, and from that little bit we got, to me, I feel like this movie is badass. Like it could be, because you had a great actor to play Dr. Fate. You have Atom Smasher, and then you have Hawkman.
Yeah.
And it was just like, all right, you got all decent. Like, I don't know who's playing Atom Smasher, but that guy looks perfect for fucking Doctor Strange.
That movie picked the right character, even up to the Rock being,
and not him just being the Rock, but the shape of the head, the stature, the
there's
everything.
not when you seen that like that part where he grabs the guy that he's gonna kill. It was like, this is the one. Like one of my critiques of Shazam, it was he put on a muscle suit for his costume.
Yep.
Yeah, the Rock didn't put on a muscle suit for his costume.
That was on him.
That was the Rock. Like,
but, okay. And again, I'll bring it to Jason Momoa in a second, since we moved on to this. That trailer, to me, I was just like, I kind of want to see an actual trailer in this movie.
Oh, which one?
Black Adam.
Black Adam, okay.
If you're gonna say what DC fandom gave us with Shazam,
yeah,
I was looking at it like,
Shazam
how do you
was
go from one vibe of a badass, it looks like
so
it might be an action
cartoony,
movie.
very boring bullshit. Like, and this is coming from like, I love the Marvel aspect, but Marvel doesn't even come off as cheesy.
No.
And that's just real facts. Like, and they're trying to add other characters and all the people because they had the whole family, whatever, at the end of the first movie. If you haven't seen it, fuck you. But that it's cool, but it's just one of the things, like, it sucks knowing in my head, because I already heard the rumors because of how the post-credit was for the first movie. That is not why it's not gonna be Black Adam, but it's like, you know, Black Adam's gonna come up. If his movie drops first, you know he's the post-credit.
Yes.
And then it's like, this is where I could say, in the world of realism and just making shit believable.
Yeah.
The Rock, the guy who's literally gonna have real tights on for his fucking stature.
Yeah.
Is gonna fight some skinny ass white boy in a muscle suit. And I'm supposed to enjoy that.
This is what DC's problem is. And I forgot who I was talking to recently about it. But you always, WB bought all DC characters. Why is it Marvel's still trying to get characters here and there, but they still made a fucking franchise 10 years long of good movies, minus like 3 or 4 out of 24. And then it was just like,
they had a fucking plan.
They had a plan. And the thing with DC is it's like, yeah, okay, we have this person do like HBO Max, we're gonna have you do Titans, then you over here you do Stargirl,
and that's where they fucked up, because the thing is, Kevin Feige is an executive producer.
Yeah,
but the role of an executive producer is so misunderstood for a lot of people. The executive producer is the person that makes the shit really run. He goes in there and he really explains, like, listen, this is the vision that we are working with.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to push this vision. That's the role of an executive producer or a producer. Your producer is the visionary.
Yeah.
When you do music,
you direct.
you are the person saying the rhymes, but I'm telling you what I'm trying to, the picture I'm trying to paint with the beat.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
He's the overseer.
Yes.
Of all that shit.
So that's
don't
why
have
Kevin
that in DC.
Feige is such a great character,
Person.
great person for the role that
Praise
he
him.
does, because he does it smart.
Yeah.
DC fans, you know what it is about the DC? The DC fans are like the people at a point in time when Vince McMahon went down south to try to work with the WCW aspect, and it was like, oh, take your northerner shit there. That's what Kevin Feige is from Marvel to DC.
Yeah.
He went from Marvel to DC to do, what was it, Justice League, or help with Justice League. And they took it as, oh, look at his cartoony. Like, honestly, the first Justice League movie, even though it did suck before the Snyder cuts, besides those little extra shit that the Snyder shit had that was actually good, it's the same fucking movie. And people don't see that because they know he's attached to it.
Yeah.
They know at the end of the day, this guy's daughter killed herself, da-da-da.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in that fandom world, like, it sucks to say, but we live in communities now within communities. It's just what it is. So in the comic book, movie, da-da-da, that whole world community, Marvel fans, we riding for Kevin Feige. Yeah. DC, they didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Once they seen that open opportunity, they shit on it and got a 4-hour movie that sucked besides extra bonus points, honestly.
And I keep going back and forth because I keep forgetting who Kevin Feige and Joss Whedon is.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon is the overseer of all, I think. Yeah. He's the overseer of all.
Kevin you just had me do this whole dialogue.
Yeah.
And I just said names
but no.
100% wrong.
But no. You're
God
right.
damn it.
Kevin Feige is the one who did Justice League. Kevin Feige is also who did, I think, Avengers 1 and 2 movies.
Yeah,
Joss
I know
Whedon,
he was part of,
Joss Whedon
because the Russos
overseer,
did the other movies. Yeah.
Kevin Feige is a director.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, to be, the thing is,
but he was
that
a Marvel director.
You got to know the picture that you're trying to paint. Like, there's somebody that comes in and puts the canvas. Then there's a person that does the outlining. Then there's a person that puts the color, the fillers, the happy trees, all of that. You get what I'm saying? Like, they do it smart. And it sucks because that's the Disney world. Hey, fuck it. We're going to lose to a mega corporation, but I'll get into that conspiracy theory later. But at the end of the fucking day, like, that's what it is when it comes down to it at the end. Like, if you really look at movies right now, look at how movies are working. If you're not from a DC or Warner Brothers, how many movies are really coming out right now? How much shit is really being made? Yeah. And those are probably the better movies to watch right now because those don't give a fuck about the shit that they doing.
But it goes back to comic books.
Yeah.
It's the same aspect. The major companies are fucking up left and right to placate to the audience they think is the audience, but realistically, they don't understand the main audience is this.
Nah, but they don't get it. Like, they will never get it because they, like, all right, Dune, we talked about earlier. Dune, look at how they hella fandom that was here, hella fandom, but not everybody knew. I didn't know what the only shit I know about Dune was dunes that you could get killed in when you go onto a beach and you walk into that sand dunes and you fucking die. Yeah, that's all I fucking ever knew about a dune. But in the world, that's what they built. Like, they build a whole shit now. Everything's a franchise and a buildup. And it sucks because not everything is good enough to be a franchise and a buildup.
And it's fact. And I think that's where a lot of problems come into because everyone's wanting to get more and more. But when you look at, like, it goes to movies for me, but it's like in comic books, independents are the best. That's why when you see new pop, like why did the Last Man's DC? We'll get into that, but Sweet Tooth.
But that's another image on DC.
No,
but I mean,
it was Image, but Image always been independent, meaning that it's creator owned. That's why, like Walking Dead and all that is part of it, is because if I knew how to draw and write all that, and I made a comic book, that means the rights go to me. That's why Robert
No, and I
Kirkman
get that. Yeah,
got all the money from the
I get
shows.
that.
So it's like when you get to independence like this, where you're not having a major person over you, you can't do this. You can't say that we need to go with this community or not. And
But
it's a major fuck up, because that's why you get the greatest stories from independence now, because
no, because they have a
writers-
different aspect. That's where Invincible came from, and
yes,
because honestly, I could see the boardroom when they pitched Invincible, and it was like, it's a superhero, and I was like, oh, another one.
yeah.
And then they explain it, and it's like, oh my god, it's something different. Like that was Amazon's like, oh my god, we have something over Netflix. Like one of those type of things. Like, so we're gonna go to Sweet Tooth, and the Sweet Tooth aspect, or Wild Ass Man.
Yeah.
But more or less Wild Ass Man than Sweet Tooth. But in those aspects, those are very indie, very da-da-da.
Yeah. Well,
Just that you told me about. Like, and I'm just speaking for me.
Wild Last Man is technically owned by DC, but what DC did in like the mid to late 90s, they came out with a section of their comic books called Vertigo. So that's where
What's the name? Preacher and shit like that. Yeah.
Sandman, that's gonna be a new show. Swamp Thing
Sandman,
was there.
Yeah, I seen Sandman on
They
that,
called
actually.
them something Blaze, but it was Constantine.
No, it's Constantine. It's Hellblazer.
Yeah. So Swamp Thing, him, like they were all part of Vertigo, which is supposed to be like the dark, realistic, like they call it the Europe boom in the comic books, because a lot of European writers came to America and they started writing crazy shit.
But that's cool. That's fine. Like,
No,
I love those. You know what's
saying,
funny? That those characters way more cooler than all the DC. Like, give me Hellboy, give me Constantine, give me fucking
Hellboy's
Spawn,
another
give me all the most random characters than anything from the DC universe. Why? Because that actually sounds cooler.
But that's because they had free range when DC was doing Vertigo at the time. They had free range to write how they wanted to. That's why Sandman had awards for the writing. That's why Preacher, and up until recently, really was famous in the comic book community, because holy shit, we never seen
but that's and that's the shit about those stories. Like, and listen, I never read Preacher. I never read Wild Ass Man. I never read the one that you just said.
Wild Ass Man.
No, on Sandman, the Sandman. Yeah. Like, I never read those shits. I don't really have just into those things.
Yeah.
But I know the aspects of where they're coming off of as a Walking Dead fan, who's Image, and I know those concepts of coming from that brand. It's like a brand affiliation.
Yeah.
So off of that brand, I know, like, it's gonna be a more like story, darker. It's not gonna come off where you get extra bubbles. You get the voice bubble, then the thought bubble.
Well,
and you know what I mean? Like,
no, it's a fact, because what happened is Image came out early 90s. That's where you get the famous writers from and artists from Marvel and DC. They got them all for Image. That's where Spawn, Savage Dragon, Max, all these people came out and did their own shit, and it became booming. But then they quickly went down because they had issues. But
they were very rare, and they were ECW in the aspect of the comic book world.
But the thing is, they were winning at a point, and
ECW.
even to this day, they always say, like, with the rights, because people had problems with that. So with Marvel and DC, like DC made Vertigo, and then Marvel made Max. And then you have, like, if you look at Marvel Max, you can see, like, oh, it's a little bit darker writing with Punisher or Black Panther or this or that. It was darker writing. The art was good still, but darker. Like, it was just like a darker vibe until both DC and Marvel, because they're the big two. There always will be.
You always want to be one of the.
That's why once they got bankrupt in the 90s and then sold their fucking properties everywhere, then it was just like, oh, now they're going back up. So what we were just talking about with the nerd boom, Marvel and DC, that's why they started throwing out movies like, hey, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this, but they're still in the same mindset of, let's placate to the general public when they don't understand.
And that's their flaw.
Public
that's the biggest flaw.
Yeah. The general public isn't with them. It's the nerds like me that are gonna want to read your shit. Stop you know,
and that's why, like, real quick before we go into the Wild Last Man to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Basically, when we had the conversation about Dune, why I said what I said, because it was like I have no real affiliation to any of this, and then like to hear Angelo talk about it and aspect like, oh shit, now it sounds smart and makes sense.
Good.
Yeah. I was like, I'm more willing to put more time into it. Like I'll watch it again. I'll wait for the next movie and I'll give it another try. I just want something that makes me want to watch it. Like I hate when they mail it in. Like, and that's one of the reasons why, like, for a lot of shit lately, it's been very bad. Like, I can't wait to watch Eternals, but I know they're mailing it in.
Yep.
They're mailing it in for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But it's just what it is. Like, that's you do what you do because you don't want to call them fillers, but they're fillers.
Yeah. No, it's a fact.
Yeah.
Like, I have no problem saying that. I know I'm gonna give probably Eternals a bad review.
Yeah.
But I gave Shang-Chi a bad review. So for anybody that's saying like, oh, you're just a Marvel fan. Like, no, before 2020, yeah, I was like a super. I would have been like, yo,
that's
you.
But that's another conversation. I had like to do just a straight Marvel talk.
Yeah.
Like we have to sit here and really talk Marvel and the aspects of how they had a 10-year run, had a pandemic, had these issues, and it still found a way to almost in the aspect to be the most popular thing to be talked about throughout a year, where they never dropped a movie. They only dropped TV shows and people talked about them. And DC was still trying to figure out what the fuck they were doing.
And
but that's just me sounding like a fucking super fan. And it just is what it is.
It's a fact though.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll get into Why the Last Man. So I think what we left off is episode 4. So we talked about 1 through 4. After 4, like I think even after 4, what happens is they found the Asian scientist, Mrs. Mann.
They find Man. They basically try to take her to whatever they.
San Francisco.
Like real quick breakdown. She tried to take her to San Francisco. They try to escape. She finally they try to escape from her because they thought that agent whatever, I forget the number.
355 or something like that.
Yeah, was something different. So they thought they could run away from her. She ends up saving them when they almost get killed from running away from her. She basically tells them, don't ever try this again. And they end up finding a whole camp. And then within that camp is a ex-female prison camp, which slices into now as well in the same episode. This is why it's hard because we didn't do episode by episode. They try to really break this down. We go into his sister's story, which I'm only saying this in this way. If he could correct me because he read the comic. We go into the sister story where she now meets the Amazons. And we do the story with the Amazons where they show and she's uncomfortable. She's trying to figure out why they're looking at her. I honestly thought they were all lesbians that wanted her. I want her personally, so I understood. They go through all of that. They have the redheaded chick with her daughter. She's part of it. It sucks that I can't remember everybody's names.
Yeah, I'm bad with names too, even on the side.
So she's part of that camp. And then the transgender guy who's friends with Yurik's sister is part of that camp. So as we get their story, basically it gets broken down into, I don't really want to go into the main leaders part just yet, but at a point in time, you kind of get that vibe. It's a I hate men camp.
Yeah. And
you kind of feel it, but they weren't sure about it. Then they start going into it more and they start telling details because I'm not breaking everything down for y'all. Fuck y'all. They go into more details. They explain the chick with one tit, the leader of it, her aspect. And I don't know if this is how the comic book did it. I just know this is how the show did it. And I thought it was actually pretty good. It wasn't like, I honestly like the show. I like the slowness and the pace of it, how they did it. Because I was like, you give me 2 seasons, 3 seasons of the show, because like it's not, you can't go 10 seasons on this story. That's just obsessive.
No, it has an ending.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like you do 3 seasons or 2 seasons of this show to explain and break down. It's cool because when they go into now the newer episodes, like the Amazons, they interest me because now it's like, oh, you have a group of Amazons, you have a group of military girls that don't listen to the military aspect. Then you have the regular rebel. there's 3 aspects already besides the people that we're getting taught about.
Yeah.
So that world is a very interesting world that and long story short, what I'm trying to say is they cut it off way too soon. And this is the problem with streaming era and cable. Like we got to get rid of one of the 2.
Yeah. Got to make it at least 13 episodes.
Because it's bullshit. Like, no, it's bullshit that a show that's good doesn't get enough hype, that people don't know about it, that it doesn't help them.
Well,
I'm not saying that it's an amazing show, but a good enough that it's like for a person that wants to see something different.
Yeah.
Like I tell every girl that is like the girls that I know, like women, yeah, vagina, like
yeah.
I'm like, yo, you want to watch a good show? Watch Why the Last Man. It's basically based off one guy living in a world for the woman. And that's the aspect that you sound like.
Yeah. See, reading the comic book, I think this is the thing, because when me and Thomas were talking about Sweet Tooth last weekend, it was just that's the problem with reading it beforehand, is what they could have done with everything they're doing. Like I'm seeing
the simple aspects of TV.
Yes,
I will say that.
You not knowing about the story, you're
Yes.
saying that it's going slow, but I'm saying it's going too fast.
No, because I get it. Because like as a Walking Dead fan, I could say like it was like, my nigga, like how did you get here when you could have fucking waited into here? You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you could have built it. So I get what you're saying. Like I get it.
To me, it's just kind of like it does have an ending. So you're moving too fast. You're moving too fast with the Amazons. You're moving too fast with the prison town. You're moving too fast with everything, because it sounds like those are when you read the comic book, you'll read it and then you'll be like, okay, these are the main aspects. Like these are the pinpoints. If you were to be like, okay, I remember this from the comic book.
All right.
So you'll remember the prison. You remember the transsexual girl who wasn't really transsexual. She just glued pubic hair to her face to make it seem like
Which is even more
man.
funny now in the comic book thing.
Yeah,
about
because
it.
she would in the comic book, there was a girl that did that and then performed like sex.
See, but
she
that's
would wear a strap on and she'll get her. She was like,
and that's one of the things about that
man.
comic book. Like the comic book makes this story make more sense than what the show does.
So, like again, watching it, there's certain things about the show, like the political aspect, where it's kind of like that infighting with the thing.
I don't know
like,
why, but I enjoyed the shit out of it.
They have a certain amount of that in the comic book, but it wasn't like a main thing. Like they do.
But they do it on here,
well.
but that's more of a relatable aspect to the common public. A person that doesn't even know that this is a comic book.
Yeah.
They just know that this is a show called Why the Last Man.
Yes.
And that's for the most casual of casuals.
Yes. But I fear, again, this is the thing I fear. As a comic book fan, it might bring a lot of attention because of casual goers to do that, but I feel like it'll be, if they keep going this route, because it has less comic books than Walking Dead, that you're going to bottom out even if the show becomes popular, you're going to bottom out because you just unleashed your load on the first season.
But they did it, and maybe they knew that they weren't going. Right. Honestly, I could say this one thing. Who knows? Maybe we could be wrong. This could be a longer first season that we thought, and it could be the one.
I don't think it's over. I think it really probably is like.
Was supposed. That's what I'm saying. Like once it, like that episode that makes it feel like it's over, we could judge it off of that.
But my aspect is this: the Amazons, you could have done for a few seasons, like because
no, and I agree. They would have been a lot cooler, the slow pace.
Yeah,
like you didn't have to throw the sister there right away. You could have built up to her getting to there, and like there's a lot of things that could. And like, because I kind of look at it as I try to look at it as different shit, like not having zombies, but then it's like opposing threats or just camps. So like the last episode, it was the Amazon bitches running on the other girls and it just killed her. Take whatever, and then you see how ignorant they were because they were destroying the valuables.
See, I think that's the thing too.
Yeah.
In the comic book, and maybe it's just me, and I'm not looking at it on the outskirts, but that should have been what I feel like they should have done in the show. Is like, why did you give away that they're prisoners? Like in a comic
No,
book, you're
they
reading
did.
this
No,
and they
and they did.
seem
Yeah,
like
yeah,
normal, nice women
Yeah.
until you figure out, like, wait a minute.
They
there's a
made them
prison
weird
here.
as soon as they met them. Like it was like titties
Yeah.
everywhere. Like
Yeah, and it was just like, damn, you like. This is what I'm saying. It might be slow paced to you because you don't know what to expect.
I don't feel like it's slow paced because I'm used to that pace of a show.
But-
Like because I watch Walking Dead.
But to me, it's like it's too fast. Like you're blowing your load. Stop.
But that's the way I felt about Walking Dead. Like fuck, I gotta pee.
So do I. We got to cut this shorter.
Basically the Walking, because I want to use this reference, like in the reference of Walking Dead, because I feel like they're almost similar. That's the same way I feel about Walking Dead. Where it's like if you really look at it and you read it, you see how they kill Shane. You see how they get to the farm. You see how they get to every part of where they got to, and they quick.
Yeah.
And it was like that's what boom, boom, boom. So I get what you're saying. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I wanted another season because I didn't hate it. It gave me something to watch.
Another season. You're gonna get
No, they canceled it.
They did it?
It's canceled. Yeah.
Oh, well,
One
fuck it.
season and done.
Well,
That's why I almost didn't watch the last one because honestly, I was like,
sounds
why would I invest?
waste time.
Yeah. But at the same time, I was like, fucking Nick's gonna watch it, I'll watch it. But that's what it is. Like, but I'm mad because I wanted more. I guess I'm gonna just read the comic book and I'll figure it out.
The comic book is good.
Yeah.
And
F y'all. I'll
I'll let you go. And I'll cut this off after this. But for any of the show watchers, to me, it's just they should have let that as a turn, as like a, oh, we just figured out that the prisoners, not the like housewives of the small town like they did in the comic books. Then on the show, it gives away like the lady's trying to work Yorick, but it seems like for her own agenda. But in the comic books, it's like, no. When you watch Yorick and going like in a comic books, this is why I like the book a lot, is that Yorick isn't this horny guy that wants to have sex with everything. He really wants to get back to his girl. And that's another thing we didn't talk about, is his girl. Totally different from the comic books. So he's like an average guy that just wants to find his girl again. He doesn't know what's going on. And he's not like super alpha or anything like that in a comic book. So when he gets to this place that the girl on the episode is in the comic book, but they slowly kind of like fall for each other. And I think that's the first girl in the comic book that he kind of gives it up to. And they actually care for each other until the Amazons come and, you know, certain people die in a comic book and blah, blah, blah. So the comic book made it a little bit better in that aspect. Talking about Yorick's girlfriend, she's a POS.
Oh man, she was funny in that show. Like,
but in the comic books, that's what I was getting at the listeners with. In the comic book, she's in Australia. He's trying to go back to her. So you really don't see her until probably the last arc. But it was just kind of like in this one, it's just like, yo, she's a POS. Like she even went in there setting up his mom. Like,
nah, she did. But at the same time, she kept the mom alive though.
She tried to, because she even said like, yo, you wouldn't get it to the leader of that group, whatever she's in, because that's a whole new group.
Militia.
It was just kind of like, oh yeah, you would still be waiting at the gates if it wasn't.
But you see what you just said though?
Yeah.
It's a whole new group.
Yep.
What show did that sound like?
Walking Dead.
Yep. And that's how we're gonna end this shit. Because honestly, there's a lot more. We're probably gonna just jump in and add more tomorrow because I have a lot more shit I want to talk about. But we've been sitting here for like 3 hours and I have a DDD.
I don't know what the time is yet, but yeah, we'll definitely.
So I have other shit. I'm gonna let him know so we could pre-produce before it. F y'all. Thank you. Fuck you. Goodbye. I took that from Drew Cornette because that's my nigga. Peace.